Welcome to the SplitLine Offroad Podcast. Brought to you by Magna One Motorsports.
Are you ready to go GNCC racing?
Look at these guys. Oh, boy, we got it wheel to wheel right here. String. Oh, and Stu Baylor right behind him.
Russell going to try to dive bomb down to the inside. No, can't get the line he wants.
National champion Jordan Ashford.
I appreciate it, man.
The SplitLine Offroad Podcast from Magna One Motorsports. Here's your host, Rodney Cooper, and co-host Brandon Whitehair.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the SplitLine Offroad Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Rodney Cooper. With me today, as always.
What's up? Brandon Whitehair here. I was just trying to do what you said.
Here we are. Episode 113 coming at you. We are excited and ready to roll tonight. We got a packed show for you guys tonight.
Coming from the Slow Brothers.
Here in about 20 minutes, we're going to be having the XC1 Pro overall winner of the Hoosier GNCC, Johnny Gerard, will be joining us here in about 20 minutes. And then after that, we'll be talking to Coach Rob Beans. If you guys need some advice on how to live your life,
How to get fit, man,
be sure you're listening to that, taking some notes, get the notepad out. Coach Rob will be on to talk to us. And then to finish the show out, we're going to be having XC1 Pro ATV star Austin Abney on the show. It's going to be an action-filled show, so let's get right into it. First and foremost, we got to thank our sponsors, Magna One Motorsports. If you need a used bike, if you need helmets, goggles, gear, or more, make sure you check out MagnaOneMotorsports.com for anything you need. If you're at the GNCC or the NEPG event, go to them and visit them trackside. They will be able to help you out with anything that you need. And while you're there, make sure you get the Magna One Clean It. It's a revolutionary cleaning product for all your dirt bikes, your ATVs, and anything else that you decide to bring to the track this weekend. We also got to thank Guts Racing. Guts has been a leader in seat innovation and technology for the past 25 years. If you want a tricked out seat that has style and performance, where are you leaning at today, Brandon?
Style, baby.
Style? Always. Get yourself a Guts Racing seat cover. Trust me, you guys need it. You guys want it. Andy, Greg, and the boys over there will hook it up. We also got to thank Seal Savers since 1985. No,
that's Guts.
That's Guts. About the same time, though.
Yeah, pretty
since, what was it, 22 years. They've been in the business for 25 years. Protecting the seals, protecting the bearings, protecting everything that you need protected when it comes to your suspension, your there's UV a lot of stuff. The UV joints, shafts. Yeah.
Mountain bike.
Make sure you get on it and get the boot savers, the seal savers. And then you can do it for a really good discount. Get on there and use the discount code SplitLine with a capital S. Save 25% off of anything on the website.
It's actually SplitLine.
Nope.
You're right.
SplitLine,
You're right.
Capital S. Yeah. I got you. I got you.
Yep.
We also got to thank Sunstar Chain and Sprockets. If you want to make it to the end of every race in the season, every race, if you're Devin 3 or 4 years in a row, use the Sunstar Chain and Sprocket kit. And I promise you guys, you'll make it to the end of the race and it'll make you happier. You
Yes.
won't be sitting alongside the track unless it's something else that breaks, right, Devin?
Peace of mind.
Yeah, I've broken all kinds of stuff.
It
Not my
won't,
sprocket,
it won't
though.
be the chain and sprocket, though. That's right, baby. And get on it.
That's
Brandon,
right.
what are those things made of?
Case hardened steel, baby.
Case hardened steel, unless you want to use the aluminum,
That's
like
right.
if you're a moto guy.
I wanted to say something else, but I might get fined.
We can't get fined. We can't have suspended for 3 games. We can't have you taking sensitivity.
That's right. Can't do that.
If you know, you know. Get on Sunstar Chain and Sprockets website and use a discount code SplitLine30 to save a cool 30% off of everything on their website. And then after you get all that stuff on your bike, make sure you go check out the Mountain Hare Scramble Series. Top of the line Hare Scramble Series in the state of West Virginia and in the surrounding areas. I promise you, Richie Nolan and the gang put on a awesome event.
Yep.
You'll go in,
Mhm.
and you should too.
Right. And
Trust the Gator, right?
if you were looking for a race this weekend, it's Buckhannon, West Virginia this weekend.
Yep.
Happy
Celebrate your
Mother's Day.
mothers.
Yep. Happy Mother's
At
Day
the
on
track.
Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get it all done, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
But,
So, Brandon, real quick, dude, how about Supercross Eli Tomac? How
Oh, dude.
crazy was that?
dude, I was gut wrenched. Could you imagine what he feels like?
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
that was
man.
terrible. You
What-
knew it looked bad, like,
what-
right?
What a just.
I didn't watch it live. I watched it the next morning.
Oh man, I watched it live. I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah,
I'm a Chase Sexton fan.
you don't
I'll-
want to see him win it like
but
that.
I don't want
though.
to see him winning like that.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm done watching Supercross.
I'm
I'm just done.
like, if I was Cooper Webb, like he has a shot to come. He could come back but I don't know if he
was Cooper Webb sitting on the couch watching that punching air?
Oh my god, no, he was like, no, chip. If
Well, but was it because
It
Chase was catching him?
he was
in the
catching
points.
him, but he was still not.
I think he was only like 4 or 5 out.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
think
know.
I think at this point he was probably sitting at home going, "Man, probably should have tried to race."
right, just something. But I know his concussion and everything, but I don't know. It's crazy. Well, I guess when he missed a race, it'd be over 25 points he lost. So yeah, he's out of it. Yeah.
I mean, I think Sexton basically just walks right into this.
Yeah, it's crazy how that worked. Man, it's just a gut punch took the air out of everybody, I think.
It really did. It really
Yeah.
like 2 guys left
Right.
out of the whole season to make it to the finish line without missing a race.
And what's crazy is it's one of them is Ken Roxon. It's like that dude hasn't finished the
Yeah,
series in
yeah.
like
Exactly.
5 years.
Exactly. Do you have the?
I have the Rocky Mountain.
Okay,
fantasy.
go ahead.
Ready to read?
Let's hear
All
it.
right, guys, we're going to go into the fantasy real quick. If you guys play with us, if not, just hang tight. We're going to go through this really quick because we got a busy night coming. Over on the Rocky Mountain side, Adam Verostic, 770, is in first place. He is inside overall rank in the whole game, 256.
That's pretty good.
That's
There's
pretty
probably
daggone
A couple
good.
people that play that game.
Yeah, just a couple. Just a couple. Big Ben 501 is in second. MX Mom 746, shout out to my wife and my son, is in third. Jay Groff 660 is in fourth. Isaiah White is in fifth. And we're right off the top 6 with C Mills is in sixth. I haven't seen that one. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, C Mills. So I'm
New
going to give him a
player.
shout out. Yeah.
New player. Oh, all right. Over on the Paul BMX side, Jason Ellis took the win this weekend with KTM Rider. I see KTM Rider up there a lot in that top 3. Took second. Elder 2-8 took third. Marty Sealsavers took fourth, and Stanley 851 took fifth. And for the series championship right now, we are looking at T.N. Williams is sitting in first place. KTM Rider second. Brandon is in third.
Baby.
I've worked my way back up to fifth after the debacle.
miss. Yeah.
So we have not finished the split line fantasy result. It's been a busy week, so week for we do have Rider points up, and I want to give a shout out to the top scorers and the 22 handicap guys. So over on the ATV side, there was actually hang on. Oh man, I'm looking at the wrong
You
picture.
lost it.
There,
You lost
man,
it.
Come on, man. All right. Over on the ATV side, we only had one 22 handicap get in, and that was Tavin Cook He finished in second or 20th place and took home 31 points.
Awesome job, man.
Yeah, absolutely. But the top scorer for this round was Lane McCormick. He was a 16 handicap and finished 11th place, earning him 37 points.
Bringing the heat.
Over on the bike side, there's always some 22 handicaps to get over there. The top handicap scorer was Jonathan Johnson, finishing 11th with a 22 handicap, scoring 49. Then 16th through 20th was 22 handicaps. So we had Nicholas DeFeo, Joseph Cunningham, Nathaniel
pick. Yeah.
Nathaniel Tasha, Bubs, if you guys don't know, Bolton Baroth, and Dakota DeVore.
Okay.
So congratulations to you guys for
heck of a ride,
getting in the top 20 overall and then scoring some points in SplitLine Fantasy.
That's right.
So let's get into the weekend really quick. Let's go through the results of the GNCC, starting off in the 4x4 Pro class. Brandon Frazier took the win over Landon Wolf and Cody Kohler. Those guys seem to be going back and forth. The three of them. It's awesome. Good racing there. And it seemed like there was some separation between the three of them coming through the finish line. But as far as the whole season goes, good racing.
Yeah, they're all flip.
Should have saw Brandon coming through. He was definitely out to prove a point.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the race, his horn might have been stuck on too, because it came flying through and the horn was just on nonstop.
That's just how many people he was passing. He didn't have time to let off the horn.
Yeah.
And in the women's pro class, Jessica Eloff took the win. Has she won every race since she's been on the show?
She's coming. She's
won 2 in a row, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And then she was on the show right before she won. So
Yeah.
Jessica, we might be your good luck charm.
That's right.
That class was like all over the place this weekend, though.
Yeah.
There was a lot of change ups throughout the whole race.
Yeah.
And then she managed to put it in front at the end of the race where it counted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Caitlin Osborne finished in the second place position, and Hannah Hunter took the final spot on the podium. Those girls are going back and forth as well every weekend. And then in the afternoon class, the XC2, the string's been broken.
Yep.
And is that our fault?
Nah. We can't blame it on us.
We can't blame ourselves.
We're not claiming it, even if it was.
Brandon Owens.
Yeah.
West Virginia's own Brandon Owens took the win, and it was only a matter of time before Brandon got up there.
Right. Yeah. He's quick. You know what I mean?
And I'm interested to see if he can make this championship a points battle.
As we come north.
Mm-hmm. He's definitely a northern rider for sure. Mm-hmm. But so is Steve Harrell. Steve finished second on the day, and Lane McCormick took the final podium position. And then in the ATV Pro class, Bryson Neal took the win. I think we all predicted that.
That's right. Yeah.
Came out with a vengeance, won by roughly 2 minutes. Did I say Brandon Neal?
I don't know.
Or am I just looking at you and thinking Brandon?
I think so.
I said Bryson Neal, didn't I?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you said Bryson.
Yeah. Okay. And then Adam McGill.
Yeah.
West Virginia's own.
He proved us wrong.
He proved us wrong.
On the show,
I really did not think that Ironman
was going to be a
track for him.
Right.
I know that the dude is. I think he's in the best shape he's been in for the past
while.
Yeah. He's riding really, really good right now. And then John Galata Jr. rounded off the podium, finishing third place. So good racing there.
Man, did you see
John Galata jump Hunter's wheel?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. And then did you see Hunter Hart's wreck? Where he clipped the tree?
Yep, I did see that.
Oh man.
Did you see that it was blocked for sensitive content?
Yeah, I seen that. I was like, really?
People are soft nowadays. Just ask Bob Huggins.
Shoot. But that's a kind of a blow for Hunter. But he'll rebound back quick. So
yeah, absolutely. So I think that probably knocked him back down to the second place position in the points.
We actually have a question that'll touch on that later.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
And then over the morning, Rachel Archer took the win. And the women, Kate taking second, and Kayla O'Neill
haven't heard
taking third.
That's cool.
I think, is that her first podium ever?
I believe so.
I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
But WHC didn't win the overall this weekend.
Did he not?
No.
Who did?
Gary Fridley.
Oh, Gary Fridley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Local guy.
He's a local for
He
us.
is a local guy.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like
He
Gary.
could show up in a mud race anywhere on a
I feel
mud
like
race and
Gary's-
just tear it up.
I feel
man.
like Gary's like that type of guy. That I don't know Gary very well, but I know
Like,
of him
yeah.
enough to where it's like I don't know if he trains or anything, but like he shows
he
up
could
and
just show
just
up
like I took the overall,
right.
and I
Right.
mean no big deal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's just
The dude rips.
especially and dude, Saturday looked pretty kind of dry, and Sunday was a little wet.
A little wet.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I don't think he anymore, but I mean, back in the day, he used to be really fast.
Right.
So
Oh yeah. But he's just like one of
not
those
a
guys.
surprise.
He just seems like he could just show up at any race and just like win. It's weird. It's crazy, but
Yeah.
dude can ride.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then in the XC2 class in the afternoons, Mike Wachowski,
Yes.
man, welcome back, Mike.
We're gonna have to
It's
get him
good
on the
to see.
show.
We have to get
Yeah.
him on the show. Not only did he take the XC2 victory,
But
but he finished third overall. And I'm like, yep, that's Mike.
Like, yep.
Yeah, we need to get
It's-
him on the show
Me
soon.
too. Yep.
We've not talked to him for a while. He's had it's been weird, right?
Yeah.
Like not been able to ride up to I'm sure his own standards.
Right.
And then I thought beginning of the year, it always seems like he comes out really strong.
Right.
But must have been having some problems at the beginning of the year, and then just
Man.
back at it.
Yeah.
So I hope to see him back up there.
That's podium without like being like a time adjustment in the overall for a while.
I think Ben's done it.
Did Ben do it in XC2?
I think he did
I
it.
didn't know without the time adjustment or anything like that. So
Yeah.
usually snowshoes like a place.
Mhm.
I don't know when the last time that's been done from XC2 without a time adjustment. You know what I
Without
mean?
without like
Without-
the
yeah,
rows.
yeah, the rows,
yeah.
I don't remember when it was, but I think Ben did it.
And then after Mike, Liam Draper took second, finishing fourth overall. And I have never seen a more disappointed not interview, but like a video he put out for such an amazing ride. But I understand.
Right.
Did you see the time split?
He came up so close.
0.9 seconds.
And from what I heard from his own words was that a lapper got in his way about 50 feet away from the finish line.
Yeah.
And
I kind of assumed watching the video that it was literally right when they were coming in where all the people were getting stuck.
Could you imagine being that lapper? If you're listening to the show, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say your name. I don't think it would suck to be
Right.
that guy.
Yeah.
I would feel bad.
Especially it's probably like his first race or something. I mean, I don't say the first race, but
Maybe. Yeah.
it's crazy.
And routing out the podium for the XC2 class, Cody Barnes.
Yeah.
Heck of a ride
Heck
from
yeah,
that
man.
guy as well. And then in the pro class, the XC1
We did
overall.
it. 6
We did it.
6 for
We're-
6.
I can't believe it. Can we go 7 for 7?
Oh my
There's
gosh.
no way.
There's no way, right?
There's no way, right?
There's no way. I don't know. Josh Strang is really good at John Penton.
I know, dude.
It's
It'd be so
crazy.
cool.
If we went
Is-
7 for
Hey.
7.
Is he the last one that could?
Ashburn.
And Jordan.
Ashburn
See,
was leading that race.
Ashburn would be doing good there, but I think that's one of our questions. But I think you're going to see it snowshoe Ashburn. But
Yeah.
it's going
Or
to be
Ricky.
What
or
do you
Ricky.
mean? Are we throwing up like that's a potential 8 for 8 if you did
yeah,
that?
right. If Strang does that,
Well, no, we
We
got to
have
go.
to
We
Mason
got
Oh
to
yeah, we got Mason Dixon in
Exit,
between.
yeah.
There's no way. There's no way we get 8 for 8.
I don't know.
Dude, I don't know if we
Stu
can get
seemed-
7 for 7.
Stu seemed convinced that we could do it.
Well, Stu also told us that by round 4 we would have clear cut. We would have clear cut like 2 guys for the championship, and as of right now, we have like 6.
As of right now, I think the guys are in the pits going, "Hey, who wants to win that hasn't won yet? Like, let's just
Let's just let everybody
keep
cover
it going.
Let's just let everybody cover it. Let's
like,
break
you know
a
what?
record that can't be broken.
Yeah. They said we'll check up. You guys
Let's
take the
go.
lead. We'll just follow.
I'm sure that's exactly how it went down. Johnny Gerard took the win, and
Heck
he's going to
yeah,
be joining us here in about 2 minutes. So excited to talk to him. Stu Baylor took second, and Ben Kelly rounded out your pro podium, but
Wow.
was not on the overall
Right.
podium.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So it's a great weekend of racing. Had a little bit of everything. Had hard packed dry, and a little bit of mud.
Yeah.
So-
I don't know about a little bit.
A lot of bit
That's
of
a
mud.
lot of bit of mud.
A lot of bit of mud, and the sticky type of mud, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
That, it's that mud that you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good
So,
stuff. Yeah.
are we ready?
Ready?
Yeah.
All right.
We're ready.
Guys, we're going to go to commercial break. And when we come back on the other side of the commercial break, we will have your XC1. Who's your winner? Johnny Gerard.
at the track, now online. Magna1motorsports.com. From used bikes, just like Jordan Chase and the rest of the team ride. Plus, all the gear you need. Helmets, goggles, gear, and more. Magna1motorsports.com or trackside at GNCC and NEPG events. Be sure to pick up a bottle of Magna 1's Magna 1 Clean It, revolutionary cleaning product for your dirt bike. Coming soon. Join Chase Landers and Team Clean. Trackside for everything you need when you need it. And at your fingertips at Magna1motorsports.com. Magna 1 Motorsports and Magna1motorsports.com, your everything dirt bike headquarters.
Doug here from Sunstar Sprockets and Chains. I just wanted to take the time to thank you for listening to the SplitLine Offroad podcast and for a great 2022 season. I look forward to meeting as many of you as I can on the GNCC circuit next year, which reminds me, SplitLine has talked me into continuing with their discount code. All you need to do is go to our website, sunstar-braking.com, and use the code SplitLine30 to get 30% off your order. If you are not a Sunstar rider and you would like to be, then check out the Racer tab while you are there. If the link is active, then we are still accepting riders.
Hey guys, it's Mason with Steel Savers. If you've been listening to the show for a while or you've been around dirt bikes for a bit, you should know that Steel Savers makes the ultimate fork seal protection for your dirt bike. Not only do we have a full range of product for your dirt bike, we also have a variety of products for your side-by-side, for your mountain bike, for your quad. Be sure to check out our coil savers and CV boot savers for a double layer protection over your CV boot. Check out SteelSavers.com and enter the code SPLITLINE for 25% off. That's SteelSavers.com and the code is SPLITLINE for 25% off. Thanks for listening to the show.
All right, guys, we are back from the show. Thanks for hanging with us. And on the line now, we are joined by the Hoosier XC1 and overall winner, Johnny Gerard. Johnny, what's going on, man?
Not too much. Just hanging out, feeling good. Still coming down off the cloud from the weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say, has it sunk in yet? First overall win, and couldn't have come at a better time, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, it's definitely sunken in, and we obviously all of us work hard, every day. So definitely just cool to get one under my belt and get a good result, and something to keep my head held high and keep Chase exciting,
Right. I was going to say, what's more exciting, winning your first XC1 race or keeping it 6 for 6?
I don't know. That's pretty cool, honestly. It's really cool. Both XC1 and XC2 are both stacked this year, and it's making for some good racing. It's cool to see.
Yeah. Because we were just joking. We're like, man, is there any way we can get 7 for 7 this year? Like, it's crazy.
It's possible.
It is.
It definitely is possible, but it's one of those things like it is kind of cool to be a part of that, of like a really historical season.
Yeah.
But I'm sure like all of you guys would be like, I'd rather be like 6 for 6 being the guy that has swept the series so far. But it is kind of cool to be a part of that, such a competitive class.
Yeah, for sure.
And to say that you got to win in such a competitive class.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm stoked. I came honestly close to getting a couple podiums this year, and the cards just didn't play out. And it just feels good to finally get one and be first. So that was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And we going into the season, we were doing all of our preview shows and really kind of hyping it up and everything. And when we mentioned you, is like one of those things like, man, we were really excited to see what you could do in this class, just knowing what you did in XC2 and like after you came back midway through the season last year, and just really just picked up where you left off kind of and having a great season. And then going into the season, starting the season, you ended up having to have a surgery, I guess. And did that kind of delay your progression?
Yeah, I would say, I was feeling really good, honestly, down in boot camp in Florida. And, I kind of took a little bit of time off last year, but not really. Kind of just stayed steady and and kept working hard. And I was in a really good spot coming into this year and was feeling really strong. And yeah, I had to just woke up one morning and my arm, the bursitis sac in it like blew up, and it was a wire from previous surgery I got, 10, 12 years ago. I snapped the end of my elbow off, and it was all wired together. And it was basically like a rat's nest, and the wire came out and it was like poking a tendon, and just had my arm locked out. And I couldn't really do much riding, and I took a week off before the first sprint enduro at Saab MX, and just let my arm calm down. And it kind of like finally, I was icing it and doing all sorts of stuff. Finally, calmed down, and I ended up racing the Saab MX first U.S. sprint enduro of the year, and in quite a bit of pain. Just kind of loaded up on Advil and dealt with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Tuesday or Wednesday after that, I got surgery, and just had to, race first couple, like the sprint, first GNCC with 21 staples in my arm, and, fresh, just cutting the bursitis sac out of my arm and all the metal and stuff. It was sore, and definitely. And then just kind of never really got better like I was hoping it would, and just kept blowing up and blowing up and blowing up. And I was, draining it, it's 80 cc's here. I got 60 out of it, and then it ended up, so we drained it before Georgia, and it was like a 3-hour mud bath, and didn't seal it up the best. It ended up getting infected. And actually that helped the swelling. So I went on antibiotics for like three weeks, and my stomach was so torn up from that. And obviously they're just super hard. And I was on two strong antibiotics that, doctor told me this will kill just about anything together. So obviously they're killing all the good stuff in there too. And so that was just super rough. And finally felt like I was getting over that. And then kind of just G'd out at the sprint, and actually, like, I don't know, messed my back all up, and I could barely, walk without being in pain, or like I was trying to sleep on the couch and couldn't lay down without being in pain. And kind of just went into Camp Coker, like felt like I was riding like I was a 2x4, and just kind of suffered through it. And yeah, just a streak of very unfortunate luck, I guess.
Right.
Going into Indiana, I guess just feel all the stars aligned, and I felt good, and I've been putting in the work, like I said, and kind of getting back to it. I lost a lot of riding time when I got that surgery, and I had over a month off the bike.
Mm-hmm.
I think 4 or 5 weeks, to be honest with you. And it just kind of definitely put a damper on the start of the season. But coming off this last race and getting the win, I mean, I guess can't use that as an excuse anymore. It's that time, and I'm obviously fit and good to go. So now hopefully I can be up there and be in that fight throughout the rest of the year.
It wouldn't be your style if it wasn't hard. Okay. I listened to I think it was the Power of the Mind podcast with Ryan Sipes and you, and I learned a lot about you through that podcast. And I'm like, man, this guy has went through hell and back, and is still going through some crazy stuff. But man, just fighting through all that, that must make that win feel even better. And if I'm right, you've already wrapped up the Sprint Enduro Championship, right?
Yeah. Yep. I wrapped it up at the last round there at Promised Land.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really cool. A really cool story. Really cool to see what you're able to accomplish this past weekend. And I have a question about riding with the staples. Was that doctor approved?
Yeah. Well, we had it. what is that seal? I don't know. We had it sealed off.
Like galled up and
We
stuff.
had it Tegaderm strip. We had KT tape so it didn't fall off. I had an ace bandage around it with a freaking compression sleeve. And honestly, it was decent at the sprints, but when I raced Big Buck that first GNCC, I like cut the circulation off of my arm, and maybe I should have pulled over or took it off or what, but I was so nervous riding with an injury like that and nervous to fall on it. I kind of just extra protection, and I couldn't feel my arms the whole first GNCC. It was dangerous.
I bet.
I ghosted my bike right in front of my team manager Timmy, and I was caught on film with my hands bouncing off the bars. And I mean, I'm talking like 5 to 10 times a lap. Like my hands would just come flying off the bars, and I was like, I'm gonna get hurt. And I just rode to what I could, and obviously that was pretty poorly, but just the cards I was dealt with, and just kind of suffered on through it, I guess.
I mean, all things considered, though, I mean, you got a top 10. So, I mean, with all of that being considered, I mean, it's extremely impressive. And I think that's the cool things that, like, it's awesome that we get to talk to you and kind of like let the general public know those stories, because it's already gnarly enough that you guys are going 3 hours and racing in the toughest conditions possible. But then to add on the fact of that and everything you're going through, I mean, it just, the grit and determinations is wild.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we all of us that race dirt bikes, obviously, have that and know what it's like, and know, you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Right. So how's, are you doing did you do Camper Russell and all that stuff, or are you guys still doing that, or?
Yeah. I train with, Caleb and Jacob at Ranch Russell. We do the kind of like the 3 months, down in Florida, and now we're back up in North Carolina.
Was this your first year, or have you done that?
No, I've been there a couple of years now.
Okay.
I was there both my gas years,
Okay.
and I did a little bit of riding with Caleb before kind of Ranch Russell came about. Even previous than that on the Trail Adjusters KTM.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been around here, I would say, for I don't know, I would say close, I guess, 3.5, 4 years.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sure stepping into what was it like stepping into the KTM role with the team and all that? Like, how's that all been going?
It's been good. I honestly around a lot of the same people. Obviously the truck's different at the races, and manager and kind of people who I talk to like that, but I just been kind of in the same training program and stuff and what I do day-to-day basis. So that's all kind of the same. So, I mean, it was kind of just a color change there. Obviously in other ways it was much different and stuff.
Right.
And just, being on the FMF Red Bull KTM factory team, like, just very, very cool feeling. And, there's perks to it. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, day to day, basically, it hasn't changed much, but, at the races and obviously other ways it has.
Right. Yeah.
So, if I remember correctly, I think it was before the season started. The whole KTM crew, I believe, went out west and got to ride. And we're if you didn't know, like, we're big like podcast buffs. Like, we listen to like the Pulp MX, and Brandon was talking about the other shows and everything, and we listened to all this stuff. And I heard Chris Kiefer talking about how, like, riding with you guys and everything, and he pointed you out in particular, and he was like, that dude is gnarly. And there's like nothing, when we went riding together, there was nothing that he wouldn't do. And I just thought it was cool to hear him talk specifically about you like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, there was I think one thing that stood out in particular was, I don't know, there's just 2 big like doubles out in the middle of the desert, and they were built from a skid steer and stuff like that. They were pretty big, and like the first one, the landing was blind, and then the second one was like out of a dip, like right after it. And I mean, it wasn't anything I would say too crazy, but Thad like hit the first one, and then I was like, oh, that's cool, and like hit the first one and then hit the second one, and I don't know, it was cool. I think they thought it was super gnarly, and I was just like, I was just hitting a jump. But
Woods guys aren't first to hit jumps, man.
They're like, man, he's in big tank.
I got him jumping Johnny after that ride
Nice.
we did.
That's awesome, man. That's the stuff people like to hear about, the stories they don't get to see and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
And I think it's cool when you guys get to go free riding, because it's probably not something that you get to do a lot. I mean, you're probably always trying to beat a stopwatch. You're probably always trying to find a line. How much fun is it when you do get the opportunity just to go and enjoy sitting on a dirt bike with your buddies?
It's a blast, yeah, for sure. Definitely enjoy it. Brings back, just brings you back to why you started riding, and just to be able to enjoy it a little bit and stuff too. Yeah, because I mean, we definitely are chasing the stopwatch a lot, and yeah, it's just cool to be able to go out and just have fun and goof around and just do a little play riding.
Yeah, that's awesome. Before we let you go, we have this new segment. It's called the Sunstar Shifting Gears segment. And tonight, guys, we're going to be going kind of in and out of this segment because we have questions for all of our guests. So it's going to be kind of like bouncing in and out of the segment. But before we let you go, I think we had a few questions that either you could answer or were directed towards you. So our producer D over here is going to ask those questions for you real quick.
All
right. So the first question is, what are your pre-race meals and pit stop drink of choice?
So before race meals, Sunday morning, I would wake up, eat some eggs, probably 3 or 4, and then some power waffles. I like the Kodiak power waffles. Maybe a peanut butter on them or whatever. And then I'll go do my pedaling and stuff, and then come back and eat some salmon and rice usually for lunch. And that's what I'll have Sunday morning before the race. And I will drink pretty much just Scratch in my pit bottles.
What was that? Scratch?
Scratch.
What is that?
Yeah.
It's just like a hydration drink. Cyclists use and stuff. You can find it on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Yeah. Did you write all that down?
Yeah, I just wrote the time down of the show, that way I can go back. Everybody can go back and listen. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Sounds good.
Everybody will be doing that. You know,
we're eating salmon and rice, and Scratch is going to be sold out now.
Kodiak and peanut butter. Yeah.
All right.
Not much. Just some healthy snacks.
There you go.
All right. The next question was, how many times do you think is appropriate to bike the track before the race?
I would say 2 is good. 3 is good. I would say anything over that's probably a little overkill, but I would say 2 to 3. 2 to 3 laps.
Yeah.
So is that your average, 2 to 3?
Yeah. I mean, at a GNCC, yeah. I mean, it depends how hard the track is to pedal and stuff like that. Like at Ironman, obviously before we got the rain Saturday, it was super easy to bike. And I mean, my e-bike was using like a bar a lap. That's crazy. Like usually a track will kill a whole e-bike battery.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think, you have 3 hours out there. Obviously you want to be sharp, and that's how you make passes on the first lap, knowing all those little lines that, if you get a bad start or whatnot. But I think GNCC, I would say 2 to 3 laps.
Okay.
Sprinter or something like that, I tend to do more, but.
Yeah.
All right. I got one more fun question for you. And you can speak on this because you're part of this question. So out of all of the XC1 bike guys, which of you guys would be an F1 driver?
The best F1 driver?
Well, just
which one would
driver.
Be a F1 driver?
Okay.
Or could be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, is that something you could see yourself doing?
Yeah, sure. I'll put my money on myself.
There you go.
There we go.
These are all questions from our listeners. They send them all in on Instagram, and
we have made the mistake before of being like the craziest. The crazier the question, the more likely we'll be able to say it. So,
That's cool.
But no, but it would be cool to see some cross. Okay, I'll ask you a question. This of all the XC1 bike guys, who do you think would win if all of you raced a quad?
That would be
boy, I
interesting.
don't know.
He's like, I don't know.
I don't know if I'm not sure. No experience.
No
I've heard
experience.
who is it that we've heard that's actually pretty good?
Grant,
Grant. I've heard Grant's pretty good.
Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard Craig was pretty good.
Craig DeLong, yeah, it's not too bad.
I'll have to get Johnny Gallagher to let me try his quad out.
Try his
There we
quad.
go. There we go. That'd be fun to see.
Yeah. He said next round they do, he's going to get in on that with Caleb and see if he can beat him.
Yeah.
I was actually hurt when that was going on, so
Oh, okay.
I could have tried then.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you ever rode one?
No, I mean, I obviously when I was a kid, we had this utility quad. We rode around like we were freaking racing quads. But no, I've never rode a full blown race quad.
Back when Brandon and I were kids, we trashed a few utility quads trying to
One or two.
one or two. So, hey, Johnny, man, we appreciate your time on the show tonight. It was awesome to have you on. And hey, what's the round you're looking forward to the most? Since we're done with the Ironman, we're back north.
I like snowshoe.
Uh-huh.
I like Boy Scout camp. Honestly, I like
The rougher the better.
West Virginia rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Buckwheat 100.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too picky. I'm gonna just try to enjoy the rest of the rounds, and I feel like when I'm enjoying myself, I'm doing better. So I kind of just looking forward to racing anywhere, really.
Yeah. Well, good luck, man, and good luck in your trial to be the first person to win 2 in a row here in a couple weeks. So, hey, we appreciate your time on the show tonight, buddy, and we'll talk to you down the road.
All right, thank you guys. We'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Thank you,
buddy.
Bye.
All right,
Wow.
Johnny Gerard.
Wow.
Man, what a story! Like you said,
He's been through a lot.
he's been through a lot,
Yeah.
and I think we all knew that this was coming this year.
Yeah. We just
the-
expected it earlier for some reason.
Well, for some reason is because we didn't realize he was going to be like when we had
having
that
staples while racing.
when we had that first show, we didn't realize we were going to be having staples.
Right. Yeah, staples and the biggest thing everybody's ever looking probably is this is his rookie year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is his rookie year in XC1. Dude's got raw speed. He's quick, and I have a feeling once he's got that confidence now and he's felt that up there and he's feeling better, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't start seeing him up on the podium a lot more the rest of the year.
No, I agree. I think that's one of those things, especially when you're cut into. It's one of those things that you just have to have time, right?
Right.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that he picked up that win after maybe a 3-week break from GNCC. Had a little bit more time. I know he was still racing, but had a little bit more time to let that thing heal. And I'm excited, man. I think that you got somebody that, man. I don't know. I would say this year he's probably too far out of the points.
You just never know.
I mean,
look at Sexton.
I know
Tomac and
he's sitting in 8th right now, and he's like 60 some points behind.
Well, what if he wins out?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
What if he wins out?
What if he wins out?
There's we just watched Supercross happen. Injuries, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. Don't want anybody to get hurt, but injuries do happen in this sport that we love so much. So things happen. But
isn't it crazy that our top 3 bike guys are within 6 points after 6 rounds?
Right. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is a toss up. Who we got coming on next?
Up next, we have Coach Rob Beams coming on.
Get your pen and notebook back.
Get the notebook out, get the pens out, and start writing down some information.
Eat some brain food.
It's been a minute since we've had Rob on, and I'm sure that we have a decent amount of new listeners since then. So if you guys aren't familiar with Coach Rob Beams, he is a strength and
he's everything pretty much. Strength, conditioning, He'll
But
help
he
you with anything.
really caters to the motocross and the dirt bike racing side.
Yeah, I mean, well, he does pretty much everything. Cycling,
yeah.
triathlons.
Yeah. He's worked with some stars of the sport, but I think he also prides himself on working with the grassroots guys as well.
Yeah.
Right now, he's working with Mike Witkowski, I believe.
I know he was last year.
I know he was
I'm not
last
sure
year.
this year. Well, too soon, but
I should have known that before.
yeah,
But-
Just for clarification, they were asking about the rest of the Sunstar questions. So we will be going in and out of those questions until we're done with Austin's interview, because there's questions in there for everybody.
Yeah. We have some for Coach Rob and some for me and Coop.
Is there some for me?
Yeah, there's some for us.
There is.
Yeah.
Did you read through them? You're not supposed to read through them, Brandon.
Listen, it's my segment. I do what I want.
I mean, he didn't look at them. It's a surprise.
We need to catch your authentic reaction.
Listen, I just skim. I'm just like, oh boy.
Skim?
I just skim.
Skim milk?
Even if he looked at the question, it would still be an authentic answer when you get to it.
Hey, you know what I did get to do?
What?
I actually got the ride this weekend for the first time.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, it was nice.
You know what I did this weekend?
Nothing. Go to a baseball game.
Listen, this is what really set our listeners off. Baseball.
Yeah. If you missed our show last week, guys, that's all Coop wanted to talk about baseball.
People were pissed.
Mr. Doug was upset with you and your baseball.
Doug was so mad. He was like, I'm calling into the show to let them know that this is not some stick and ball sport show.
That's right.
And I guess we didn't have Devin here to
keep us on track. I was trying, Devin. I was trying. This guy was like watching a baseball game while the show was going on.
It was a very loose program.
I heard, because I went back and listened. And
it was loose.
It was pretty loose. We kept it pretty loose,
That's why Jonathan is supposed to take my place.
Jonathan was just over there like zoned in and just loving it. He was just loving it over there. So
had to have a talk with him.
Yeah.
Right.
How about JJ Weatherholt?
I thought you were going to talk about producer JJ
hitting a 2-run home run up there at Pitt tonight.
All right, who we got?
I think it's time to
time to roll around.
Next interview.
Next interview, we're going to be going to Coach Rob, and I'm excited to talk to Coach Rob, and it's going to be fun to get to chat with him. So, you ready to go to commercial break? Let's go to commercial break, guys.
You've seen them at the track. Now, online, Magna1Motorsports.com. From used bikes, just like Jordan Chase and the rest of the team ride. Plus, all the gear you need. Helmets, goggles, gear, and more. Magna1Motorsports.com or trackside at GNCC and NEPG events. Be sure to pick up a bottle of Magna 1's Magna 1 Clean It, revolutionary cleaning product for your dirt bike. Coming soon. Join Chase Landers and Team Clean. Trackside for everything you need when you need it. And at your fingertips at Magna1Motorsports.com. Magna 1 Motorsports and Magna1Motorsports.com, your everything dirt bike headquarters.
Doug here from Sunstar Sprockets and Chains. I just wanted to take the time to thank you for listening to the SplitLine Offroad podcast and for a great 2022 season. I look forward to meeting as many of you as I can on the GNCC circuit next year, which reminds me, SplitLine has talked me into continuing with their discount code. All you need to do is go to our website, sunstar-braking.com, and use the code SplitLine30 to get 30% off your order. If you are not a Sunstar rider and you would like to be, then check out the Racer tab while you are there. If the link is active, then we are still accepting riders.
Hey guys, it's Mason with Steel Savers. If you've been listening to the show for a while or you've been around dirt bikes for a bit, you should know that Steel Savers makes the ultimate fork seal protection for your dirt bike. Not only do we have a full range of product for your dirt bike, we also have a variety of products for your side-by-side, for your mountain bike, for your quad. Be sure to check out our coil savers and CV boot savers for a double layer protection over your CV boot. Check out steelsavers.com and enter the code SPLITLINE for 25% off. That's steelsavers.com and the code is SPLITLINE for 25% off. Thanks for listening to the show.
All right, guys, we are back, and we are happy to have on the line a friend of the show, somebody we haven't had on in a while, and
Yeah.
it is about time
Yep.
that we got this gentleman on. Coach Rob Beams is on. Coach, how's it going?
Hey, good evening, guys. Thanks so much for having me. Deeply appreciate it.
Oh,
Yeah,
we appreciate your time tonight. I appreciate you wanting to come on and chat with us.
Absolutely. With the way that the season's going, how can we not get together? It's been an incredible year so far already.
Oh man, this has been insane, especially on Sundays.
Yeah, who would have thought 6 for 6
Yeah.
going into the seventh round of the season? 6 different winners. It's been a wild year. It's been fun to talk about for sure too.
Yeah, there's never been a dull moment. Obviously I've got quite a bit of eggs in Mike Witowski's basket. So for myself, it's been one of those seasons that every race you learn a little bit more. As I always say to Mike, even when we do win the race like we did this weekend, in my world, the human telemetry that we get out of the race is far more important than the trophy. I know for Mike, he likes bonuses, but for that's what pays his bills. But for myself, learning a little bit more about what the body can do. Excuse me. What I love about the GNCC side is when you look at how many times those guys go around a loop and you look at the total number of motorcycles that go around in one loop, the dynamics are so diverse that, when we do a data dump afterwards, the information is, the cup runneth over. There's so many variables to look at. And then we always look at, we compare year to date. So that's the type of analysis that we have a good time with.
Yeah, I'm sure. Cause like I've always said, there's probably like 400 or 500 dirt bikes on that track in the PM, and they get it at the last part of the day, last part of the weekend. And then
things change rapidly.
Speeds and gosh, it's a crazy number.
Yeah, it really is. And, like with Mike and anybody that we work with, as you guys know, we work with the Nash girls, just absolutely in love working with all these different athletes off-road. The beautiful thing about off-road is you can't run from fitness. You can't run from hydration. And obviously that's my wheelhouse, but Mike and I tease about it. His warm-up is sometimes 3 times longer than the Supercross main event in the 450 class on Saturday night.
That's crazy.
And yeah, and when you stop and you look with Mike, we look at average heart rate, we look at max heart rate, we look at calories burnt. And, you've got Mike burning upwards of 1,000 calories an hour, and stop and think about that. 3,000 calories, compare that to what a Supercross racer burns. And you look at the heat, the humidity, the track changes, the loops change. You have lappers, as we know, that could be a real big deal breaker.
Yeah.
Not even a bike setup, not even a fitness, just logistics that you don't see in Supercross.
Yeah, for sure, man. I tell you what, we keep talking about Mike, and man, he had an awesome ride this weekend.
Yeah.
And it seemed
amazing
like
ride. Him and Liam both had an amazing ride this weekend.
Right.
I know Liam was bummed with the way the race finished for him, but for both of those two to stick it in the top 5 and for Mike to get on that overall podium, let alone winning the XC2 class, just an amazing round for both of them.
Absolutely. Who doesn't like to see a race that's wheel to wheel for start to finish, really?
Right.
And it's really great because, when you look at the way that the season started out, one of the things that Mike and I always look at is, did we race to the physical capabilities that we know we're capable of? And not because Mike got the win, just sheerly based on numbers. This was the first race that we legitimately had Mike at what we consider the race pace. And he had a little bit more left in the tank. We were glad to see that. If the race demands of it, you stall the bike or you put the bike down, you've got to have that wiggle room to be able to pick it up and take off again. So knowing that we still had another 5, maybe even 10% in the tank to be able to battle in that type of a situation, the challenge that you run into with off-road is if you're racing at that, absolute threshold and you do stall the bike, you're going to get beat just because your race intensity is at the wrong level.
Mm-hmm.
And you've always got to allow a little bit in the reserve. I keep saying it, but you stall the bike, you clip a tree, you put the bike down. If you don't have the energy and you're already right on that cusp of going anaerobic, you unfortunately will go nowhere but backwards.
Yeah.
And that's not a fitness issue. That's a strategy mistake.
I've been there multiple times.
Yeah. Not a good feeling for sure.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So, so when you look at the data and everything, and they don't reach the level of potential that you guys have both said that they haven't emptied the tank or they haven't reached that level. I'm sure it's not always an effort thing. What other reasons would cause them to not be able to get maximum performance out in that race when they need it the most?
Well, I've got to be very careful the way I say this because it's going to sound like I'm throwing somebody under the bus, and by no means I'm not. If we take Mike and we take his head off his shoulders and it's just a human being, let's say it's one of you guys. If we know that we've got a heart rate that we can race at, and at that heart rate, we know what the calorie burn rate is, we know what the sweat rate is, we know all of the variables necessary to be able to go strong for 3 hours. Maybe we try to set it up so that Mike can go fast for 3 hours, preferably 3 hours and 30 minutes if necessary. We know that's not necessary, but we know we can do it. We've tested it. We know we can do it. The only thing that would keep an athlete from being able to push his human body to that level is when the bike is not balanced or set up. So for example, if we choose the wrong setting and the bike is kicking, maybe it's side swapping, maybe the bike's not doing what we want it to do, the athlete is not going to be comfortable enough to be able to push the bike to its potential. So stop and think about the perfect scenario. If we have a bike that's balanced, suspension, and the big variable that's nearly impossible for any team to dictate is what direction is the course going to go.
Right.
So just like with Cooper Webb, how many times have we heard that they set the bike up for the second half of the race where they know, because we know the race is going that direction. Well, Supercross, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it's 99% predictable.
Right.
Off-road, it's 99% not predictable. So when you're looking at the idea that you have a team that's going to have to speculate what is the direction the track's going to go, you set the bike up to it. The perfect scenario is the track develops exactly the way the bike is set up, and the athlete can push the bike to its potential. Because here's the challenge. How many people do you know have purchased a bike and the setup and the capabilities of the bike is above what the athlete's riding ability is?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So in that case, you have an athlete like myself. If I go buy a factory edition 450, I will never push that bike to its potential, but I'm going to show high fatigue levels if I look at it from an athletic standpoint, because the bike is riding me.
Okay.
When you're dealing with somebody like Mike, the perfect day is he can push that bike to 100% of its capabilities, and when the bike serves it back, the human body can absorb, and you can elevate both of those to a level that nobody can match you. So I'm not giving away any secrets here. My goal for Mike is always to be able to win a race at about 85% of his maximum capability, because the variable that we can't control is going down, pushing the front end, getting stuck, stalling, whatever. So and it doesn't matter if you're a professional or if you're an amateur. I do the same thing with Kate and Ellie Nash. We never race at close to our 100% maximum because it leaves you no room, especially during that last hour. If you think about it this way, if you and I were running a 5K or a 10K running race, and I were to say to you, hey, Brandon, how did you do in the race? And you go, hey, I got second place. I ran 24 minutes for a 5K. Well, we didn't say, well, what place were you in at mile 1, 2, and 3? You just said, I won in 24 minutes. So what we always say, like with our endurance division, like in a marathon, the race really begins at mile 20. Doesn't matter what happens. If you're dead to the world at mile 20, the last 10K is going to be miserable. So what we always say in the GNCC world is the race really begins at the 2-hour mark. You've got to get to the 2-hour mark conservative. You've got to get there economically as possible. And you've got to be able to go hard at the 3-hour mark. So if you go and race at 90, 95%, where are you going to be the 3rd hour? You're going to be on.
Devin's thinking quads. I can already tell.
I mean, it pertains both ways.
Right.
So, like, if you are training in this way and you want to know that you can ride for 2 hours on an ATV or 3 hours on a dirt bike, how many times should you be testing yourself on your practice track at home or something like that to see how hard it is for you to do that?
It's a very, very good question. There's two components. We test every 6 weeks. We test lactate threshold, VO2 max, strength to weight ratios, threshold of fatigue, and critical speed numbers. Sounds really big and sophisticated, but when you collect a bunch of data, those are variables that we test every 6 weeks, obviously depending on the race schedule. The other side of the equation is what we call race day simulation, completely different. Because on race day, do you care what your VO2 max number is? It's part of your race, but it doesn't make your race. Race day simulation is, think about it, we're going to race snowshoe completely different than we did Florida, and Florida will be different than Georgia, and Georgia will be different than Ironman. Right. It's just the nature of the beast. So that's why your question is so on point, because race day simulation is more geared towards the elevation at snowshoe versus the lack of elevation at Florida, but heat and humidity in Florida that we're not going to see at snowshoe.
Right.
So when it comes to the frequency, it's really predicated off of the race schedule. And to be honest with you, we take the previous year's data, we use that data dump as a blueprint on how we win the next season.
That makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more to it than like a lot. I knew there was a lot more to it, but like most people would not think that you put this much thought into how things are going to go, especially like a year in advance, basically, because you're already doing this stuff now, but then next year you're going to take that same stuff and try to simulate and make it better than what it was the year before. So
if you guys want Coach Rob, and I'll throw a plug out there for him, but I'm actually a member of Coach Rob's online stuff that he does, and he
membership.
The membership, and he pretty much has it all laid out there for you, like everything he's talking about. It's in there. So if you guys are really interested, go check that out for him, because he literally has it like week 1 you're doing this day you're riding, this day you're testing, this day you're testing in the gym. It's crazy. Yeah.
No, I appreciate it very much. And you bring up a really good point, and that is, and I don't mind, I don't think I'm saying anything that Mike will be disappointed in, but we are not, and this is me speaking, this is not Mike, this is strictly me, Mike's physiologist. We expect to win because we want to get to a point where we can win the XC1 class. So this is just part of the stepping stone to get to where we're going. But when you just made the comment, you're planning a year out, Mike and I are 4 years out right now.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
So even further than I thought.
Yeah.
It is, but here's the crazy part. Along the way, you got to factor in team changes. You got to factor in schedule changes. You got to factor in relationship issues. You got to factor in travel, wear and tear. Now we're managing illnesses and injuries. And again, I don't mind saying this on public record. We're not trying to build any fitness for Mike right now. We're just trying to make sure that we don't get overworked, end up with a suppressed immune system, and or get injured. But that was all programmed back during the winter when we said, okay, this particular race course is not as physically as demanding as this one. So we almost like train through this one to peak at the next one, or 2 from now, or whatever the number may be.
Okay. So if you're somebody that is an amateur racer, maybe not to Mike's caliber or an XC1, XC2 guy, but you're looking and you've went through the first half of the season and you maybe have struggled with your fitness, really feel like you're dogging it towards the end of the race, and you're looking at this summer break coming up. Do you have time to build fitness in this summer break? Or what would you say to your average GNCC guy would be the best, I guess,
way to get through it?
Way to get through it. Should you try to build, or do you try to maybe just maintain what you have and then try to start the next year with a fresh slate?
The number one thing that we have to do when we get to the starting grid is we need to be tapered. And I know people hear the word taper, and it tends to be misapplied. Taper, by definition, is essentially shedding fatigue. So when you're looking at that break that we get, the very first thing everybody needs to focus on is recharging your batteries. I don't know if that's going to take 2 days, 2 weeks, or the full 2 months. I don't know. And that's where you get into the idea of how much fatigue has somebody put on their body. So I wish the Supercross series would emulate the off-road world, because what's great about off-road is you race on the weekend, you recover till Wednesday, you do a 7-day training block from Wednesday to Wednesday, do a 3-day taper and race again.
Mm-hmm.
So the amount of wear and tear, even though it doesn't seem like it's that big of a difference being 7 days apart versus being 14 days apart, from a human physiology standpoint, is absolutely incredibly beneficial. You notice how we're not seeing as much of an attrition rate in the off-road world that we're seeing in the Supercross?
Right. Yeah.
And it's just simply because a human being cannot keep up the pace that the Supercross schedule is requiring and requesting. And as a result, you have 98% of the field is decimated.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it this weekend. You only had AC, you had Roxon, and you had Sexton on the track. You're talking 3 factory bikes. When we go outdoors, is Anderson even going to race?
Right.
And AC can handle 230s plus 2.
Mm-hmm.
So we may not even see factory riders when we go outdoors, with the exception of the Lawrence brothers. Well, speaking from the 450, Lawrence brothers, Sexton, that's going to be pretty much it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be a Honda fest up front.
And then that's where it goes back to during the break. If you can shed fatigue in a week or two, then what you do is you start working on your aerobic base again, because that is the number one limiting factor. Unfortunately, most of the listeners think that the only way to go fast is to go fast. And it's absolutely not true. It's the opposite. So for example, let's say that you and I, we've got a 2-stroke, and we go and we get a carburetor off of an old KX 500 or a Mako 4. Now I'm going to go just as absurd and as big as I can, right? Go get the biggest carburetor, and you keep stuffing it into a certain size of a cylinder. Well, all the air fuel mixture isn't going to create more power in the size of the piston. Take the opposite. If I take a KX 500 piston and I'm stuffing a KX 80, I'm going back in the same year, right? No, we didn't have 85s, we only had 80s then. So you take a KX 80 and you stuff that carburetor, even though the power capability is there's not enough air fuel, so there's always an imbalance.
Right.
And that's what we want the listeners to understand, is what is your identified weakness? If you're out there on the race course and your muscles are just done, you need to work on strength. If you can't catch your breath, you need to work on aerobic capacity. Now you've built the right size carburetor and applied it to the right size piston. Now you have power. But you're only as strong as your weakest link in the system. And that would be the same way that we look at a size of a bore, carburetor, and pipe. That's your strength base is your bore, your aerobic capacity is your carburetor, and your capillary beds are your pipe. So if you build a bunch of metabolic byproduct and you can't get rid of it, it's like having a big dent in your pipe. It's not going to run right.
Right.
And vice versa. You could be super strong, small carburetor, no top end speed.
Right.
Big carburetor, small piston, no power. And that's where that mid season is a great break, because you can shed fatigue. You can get those little, as the Australians say, you can get the niggles out of the way. And guess what? You're off and running,
Right. I always say, like, man, like, if I just had energy, a lot of times, like, riding is energy, like, just doubling a little double or section or putting things together. It's like, I can do that. But on the third lap, do I have enough energy to do that? You know what I mean? Like, and that's where I fall short of riding, is usually I feel like I run out of energy. Like, I don't get to ride as much as I did last year and stuff. But,
sure.
To me, as a weekend warrior is what I call myself, as a weekend warrior, because I work a full-time job and baseball, like coaching, and my kid and my wife and work and everything crazy. Right. So, and then it's like, I get to Saturday and I'm like, man, now I got to drive 2.5, 3 hours, 5 hours, wherever to go where I'm going to ride. And then, do all that. And then I'm like, man, do I even have enough energy to ride today?
Yeah. Well, like we said earlier, when you look at the subject of energy, remember I mentioned to you with our riders, we look at sweat rate, we look at average and max heart rate. So stop and think about the definition of energy. A lot of the listeners will have a bad race weekend, and they go, yep, I've got to get back into the gym. I'm not in good enough shape. When really the lack of energy could be low sugar. Your liver feeds your brain. When you guys are threading the needle through the woods, think about how much overtime your brain is working. It's completely different than motocross, supercross. So if you look at how quickly the liver gets drained, because the faster you go, the quicker that gas tank becomes empty. When you run out of energy, is it a sugar or water issue? So wearing gear from head to toe, we're in a hot, humid environment. So guess what? Our ability to sweat is going to be restricted. But unfortunately, the jerseys and the pants and the helmets and the boots still absorb the sweat, but it doesn't wick away. So it drives the core body temperature up even higher, which now creates a vicious cycle because we're even sweating more. But we come back to the subject of energy. Are you running out of energy because you're running out of sugar? That's why we look at Mike's calorie burn rate. Are we running out of water and electrolytes necessary for muscle contraction? That's why we calculate sweat rate. Because what we can do is, with enough information, I can create a hydration program. You know how much to drink and when to get the right amount of sugar, water, and electrolytes so that you don't run out of energy. But you can only do that. You know, it's like when you guys are trying to figure out, hey, do we need to pit or not? You don't just shoot in the dark, you calculate it.
Right.
When it comes to energy, of course, it could be fitness, but a lot of our listeners, they do ride, they do train a little bit. We're not training like the pros do, but we're still out there. We're fit.
Right.
But energy is a very interesting subject because it's kind of like saying someone isn't fast. Is that because they never set sag and they're chasing a suspension setup, but they have no baseline number? You got to always think about the baseline number. How many suspension companies get blamed for not producing good suspension? And they ask the rider, well, did you set sag before you went out to practice? And they go, no. And they go, huh, how do you know what your number? What are you chasing?
Right.
And that's the same thing. We don't just say, drink this. We say, this is what you lost. Now, remember, sweat rate's going to be dictated by heart rate, average and max, air temperature, humidity, and duration. So we don't want to just take a sweat rate at the end of the race. You might have sweated more early because maybe your strategy was to sprint for an hour, cruise for an hour, sprint for an hour. Your perspiration and calorie rate is going to change based on intensity. You see the mistake that could create for people?
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
What if somebody just happens to be trying to keep up with like Bryson Neal? I mean, this isn't for me. I'm just asking personally. What if you're on an ATV and you're trying to keep up with Bryson Neal, who just basically sprints the whole entire race, or at least it looks like that's his sprint speed. He might have more in the tank, but I mean, he literally looks like he's just going all out for the whole race.
Yeah. You bring up the example of what I said with Mike earlier. We're only racing at 80 to 85% of maximum. Now, think about this. If I offered you guys $100 crisp bill, and I said, the first one that can get his motorcycle up to 80 miles an hour, I will give this $100 bill. And you have two bikes to choose from. You have a 65 and you have a 450. Why would you grab the 450?
Because bigger motor.
Bigger motor, easier to go faster, right?
Right.
So when you look at fitness, if you're strong and you have a big aerobic engine, even though he's executing the skills and drills necessary to go fast and he looks like he's all out, he's probably only racing at a smaller percentage of what he's currently capable of. So when you reverse engineer performance, for us to be able, let's just use an even number. Let's say that our goal is to go 30 minutes per lap, just as a baseline. We need to be able to race efficiently enough so that we're not bouncing off of anything. We're not side swapping. The bike's not compressing and then decompressing. And now the bike's going up and down instead of actually going forward. That's how we start to say, okay, can we race the characteristics of this course? If this course has a lot of elevation and a lot of rock gardens and a lot of off camber, you have to approach it completely different, because the more technical it becomes, the higher the calorie burn rate. That's why the data dump from the previous race the year before helps you get characteristics of that race, because it dictates what your strategy will be. And your strategy dictates calorie burn rate, sweat rate. It's not as technical as it sounds. It's just, you guys need to focus on showing up, geared up, my responsibility to say, okay, based on what we found in testing, what we've done in race day simulation, and the data that we've collected over the years of racing, here's what our strategy will be for this weekend. Very important.
Yeah.
And that's how we all found out that we're in trouble for the next however many years Bryson wants to race. So basically, he's saying nobody's going to touch Bryson for a while because he's just out there cruising and still winning by minutes.
Well, and that's where your athlete, if he's racing against him, needs to focus in the off season. It takes 6 months to build an aerobic engine, and it takes 6 months to build a base of strength.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you were saying during the break, is that something that you can build on? You can certainly add to it, but you're not going to build that foundation to really catapult the second half of the season. The second half of the season's been done in preseason. It's about coming into that second half of the season as fresh as you can. Fresh usually means illness and injury has been put aside and we're back to 100%. We're rebuilt.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, you're good. You're good. We have some listener questions.
So are we bouncing back into the Sunstar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
so Coach Rob, we have the Sunstar chain and sprocket shifting gears segment. And tonight, because we have multiple guests on, we're kind of bouncing back and forth into this segment. But Devin,
sure.
What kind of questions do we have over here for Coach Rob?
What would be a good pre-race warm-up? Or like should you do stretches or like an actual exercise, or what would you say would be best?
Yeah, the magic number is 20 minutes. And what you want to do is you want to spend 10 minutes. Let's just assume that you've got access to a spin bike or a Concept 2 rower, or, I'm not a big fan of e-bikes that much, but the idea here is for 10 minutes, you just want to keep it even tempo. If you're wearing a heart rate monitor, we say keep it in heart rate zone 2. For the last 10 minutes, what you do is you do 30 seconds brief acceleration, not a sprint, just a brief acceleration, and then 30 seconds nice and easy. So it's 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Do that 10 times. And if you can time it within a minute or two, you want to put your helmet on, the flag drops and you're racing. The hard part that you run into is if the race doesn't start on time. So like in our endurance division, when we're running a 5K and they say it starts at 7, we will literally run up to the last 10 minutes. Usually we'll run the run course. We finish, we get to the start line, we do some accelerations. The official term is called lactic acid shuffle. Get that metabolic system moving. And then literally within a minute, the gun goes off. So the body thinks it's already been out there for 10 or 15 minutes. So it doesn't use the first mile to get warmed up. That's what's important for, did you say it was Devin's question?
It was just a question. Just a question we had.
Listener question.
Yeah.
Listener question. So whoever the listener was, the idea here is we don't want the body to use the first 10 or 15 minutes of a race warming up, because you could lose contact with the leaders and be done. You want to trick the body into thinking it's already been out there, because there's a distinct difference between being physically warmed up and being metabolically warmed up. If you're sitting in the sun, you're physically warm, but you're not metabolically warmed up. Mm-hmm. See the difference?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. See it. I have one question that came through me. If the listener wants to know, if you're sponsored by like Rhino Power or Arma, would that cause any issues with working with you with your programs that you do?
Absolutely not. We think those companies are great. We can't have enough people supporting the sport. The beautiful part is when I'm asking you to drink, a sports drink, you've already got one that you can lean on. That's fantastic. Good stuff.
Okay.
Good deal. Devin, do we have any more?
I think that was it.
That was it?
Oh, yep. What's a good...
Yeah. We had several people
Sorry.
in the comments section that are wanting to know. They want to know if there was a link or any way that they can get to access your information, and what would be the best way to either contact you or get on the website.
Absolutely. If you want to check out our membership area, go to CompleteRacingSolutions.com. And in the top right-hand corner, you'll see there's an area that you can get all the information for the membership. We do 2 live webinars with myself per month. Okay. And there is training, there's nutrition, there's sports psychology. All of that is in the membership area.
Okay.
If you want to get in touch with me directly, my email address is contact@CompleteRacingSolutions.com. Coach Rob with 2 B's. So just contact at coachrob.com. That will come directly to me, and I'm happy to answer any and all questions that you guys may have. And by the way, and it's very important, especially for the listeners of SplitLine, I don't care if you guys are paying or not. If you've got questions of frustration, you're bouncing your head against something, please email me. Let's get together. Let's talk. Let's break it down.
Yeah.
This isn't about just, hey, if you're not paying, we're not talking. That's nonsense. There's so much misinformation that's floating around on the internet nowadays. If you thought people were confused in the 90s, they are completely, they are, what did they, I don't want to get all political here, but it's funny how people said poverty was a byproduct of the lack of access to education. We have the internet and we have the highest level of stupidity in the country that I've ever seen in my life. I'm just like, how did we get here?
You went from not enough information to flooded with too much.
I blame it on Wikipedia.
That's exactly it. And unfortunately, you guys know how it is. Everybody is now a professional, an expert, or a guru of some sort. So it's just so confusing. But seriously, for your listeners, I just want to answer your questions, man.
Awesome.
If we can help, please don't be shy.
Well, we'll ask you this one and we'll let you go.
Hey, no rush.
What would be a good pre-race meal and a good pit stop drink of choice, like coming through your pit stop? Yeah,
I always say whatever you ate for breakfast, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, eat that on the race morning. It's Tuesday. Eat what? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The big 2 hours between your complete meal and the start of the race. That allows your body to eat what you need. Then milk your isotonic drink for the last minute. That way you've topped off your sugar and your electrolytes and your perfect breakfast. Just eat what you know.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing fancy.
Right.
The biggest challenge that you run into is if you nail your breakfast. So breakfast has a twofold benefit that most people don't, because you've got to recover from sleeping 8 to 9 hours. Can you imagine going from noon until 9 p.m. and not be hungry and not drink and then wonder why you're running out of energy? But we sleep from 10 to 6 and we just think, oh, let's just go straight to the track and get after it.
Right.
My kids do not let me sleep from 10 to 6. My kids are more of like midnight or 1 o'clock. They let you go to sleep and then you get back up for work. So
yeah, there you go. That's the hardest part, is that thing called family that makes it tough.
Yeah.
And then when they come through the pit, I'm biased. I spent 5 years building my own sports drink because I couldn't find one out there that I liked. And that's my energy fuel. We have 3 formulations. We have one that's for less than an hour, high intensity. We have one that's up to 2 hours. And then we have one that's geared specifically for off-road. It's what we call Energy Fuel Plus, and that's geared for 3 hours and above. And we changed the carbohydrate molecule a little bit. We changed the ingredients just a little bit. If you're going short and fast for an hour, you need to have good mental focus. We put a little bit of caffeine. We've also put a lactic acid buffer in it. But when you're going 3 hours and above, you guys ever had that hollowed out feeling where you're just drinking sports drinks all day? You kind of feel like you want to bite your arm,
right.
Kind of that hollow feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So we put just a small amount of protein in the Energy Fuel Plus to satisfy hunger, because the only 2 macronutrients that satisfies hunger is fat and protein. We don't want to put fat in the drink, so we put just a smidgen of protein that avoids that hollow out feeling. And then we add more electrolytes because we know you're losing that in sweat. Now that sounds like a sales pitch. It's not. Like I said, we spent 5 years developing it, and the catalyst for creating it was I couldn't find anything that I felt like a sports drink needed to be geared towards the intensity and duration, and nobody does it. So we did it.
Yeah.
So an energy fuel bottle and a pit. Now I will say this, and I don't want this to come across the wrong way. I think that you should have a big enough Camelback that you shouldn't slow down. Now, if you're going to grab, you got a pit for gas and you want to, splash your mouth with some fresh water, but I think you should start with your Camelback. You need to have a 6% carbohydrate concentration rate. So make sure that you mix the product. It doesn't matter if it's Gatorade, Rhino, Arma, doesn't matter. When they say, I don't know what the mixing suggestions are, I'm just going to use my Energy Fuel. It's 2 scoops to 20 ounces. And we had this happen. We had a mom that called us Now, we've had our product for about 10 years now, and I've never had one person have any gastrointestinal issues, none. This lady called me up. Her son's a soccer player. She says, your energy fuel sucks. And I go, oh, I said, I'm sorry. I said, what happened? She goes, well, little Johnny, he had diarrhea and was cramping on the soccer field. And I was like, oh my goodness. I said, so I'm going to cut to the chase. Little Johnny wanted it to taste like Hershey syrup. So he put 6 scoops to 10 ounces.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, jeez.
I wonder what his problem was.
Yeah. So you can imagine I'm creating a sports drink that's based on the osmolality and the absorption rate. I'm looking at calories per serving. I'm looking at electrolyte profile. Little Johnny is doing 3 times the amount that he's supposed to, but she says my product sucks. So the point is it doesn't matter whose product you're using. Please mix it to the specs, because there's a lot more science that goes into it than people realize.
Yeah.
If the concentration of the carbohydrates is too little or too much, it simply won't absorb. And then you could get that distended belly in a dangerous condition known as hyponatremia, because you're not absorbing the fluids. Very dangerous.
Yeah.
Very, very dangerous.
Yeah. And I want to do a shameless plug for the Energy Plus drink as well, because it is delicious. So
I'm glad you like it.
I know that is, probably, I mean, that's got to be a factor, right, Brandon?
Right. Yeah,
I mean,
you can't drink.
I mean, I know we're tough guys, but we need some stuff that tastes good, and it does. It really tastes good. So
there's nothing that is worse than when it tastes horrible.
Yeah, yeah, especially when you're racing.
Yeah.
Well, and the hard part about it is, and this is why I wanted to make sure that there was a diversification of flavors. So, for example, we have 6 flavors, and then we always have 2 seasonal. Like right now, watermelon is one of our most popular flavors. So think about it. If you have somebody like a Mike Witowski, between on the bike and off the bike, let's say that we train 25 hours a week. Well, by the time he gets to race day, he is so sick and tired of a particular flavor. So what we do is we make sure that when he goes to the races, he has a different flavor of like, because he's sponsored by Arma. So what we always say to him is make sure that you've got a different flavor on race day than what you're training, because exactly what was just articulated. By the time it gets hot and you drank it for 20 hours a week, and then you're going to do it again on race day, you just want to punch somebody in the face. you know. And the comment that was just made about the idea that the drink becomes cold. It's very interesting, because cold fluids actually absorb quicker than warm fluids. So what we try to be very careful of is make sure that your Camelback, you want to try to keep that fluid in there as cold as possible. And I know logistically it's not always possible. We have the same problem with our Ironman athletes, because the bottle sits exposed directly to the sun on the back of the bike. So we use thermal bottles and things like that so that the fluids are as cold as possible. The gastric absorption is much higher when the fluids are cold. There's an old wise tale that cold fluids cause cramping, and it's actually not true in any shape, form, or size.
Wow.
So it's not a figment of your imagination when you're like, man, that warm fluid is disgusting. Yeah. Because the body honestly doesn't like it.
Everything has to be cold for me, or I'll just
absolutely.
Like, nope, I'm good.
Absolutely.
My wife gets mad at me.
Well, now you can blame, just so when the wife gets mad, just blame me. Say, hey, Rob said that cold fluids absorb better, so they take your fangs out of the back of my neck.
That's going to be my new saying right there. I was like, hey,
there you go.
But that's like my clients, I always encourage them, be as amorous with your partner as often as possible, and just blame it on me. I'm a big advocate. Blame it on me. Third party everything. Coach Rob said we're supposed to do it twice a day, every day. Come on.
The last question we had before we can let Rob get back to whatever he needs to do. They want to know if you can buy, like, where should they go to purchase the drinks and stuff?
Yes, sir. If you go to Coach Rob with 2 B's, CoachRobStore.com. CoachRobStore.com. And just remember, Coach Rob has 2 B's. B as in boy. It's ROBB.com. And I really appreciate people giving it a shot. And like I said, if you have any questions about how to use it, maybe how not to use it, that's what we're here for. There's no question. And I love this type of an environment, because we do have the privilege of working with pros, but what I really love is the working guy that's balancing family and training and riding and racing and bike maintenance and everything else. And, I always say the weekend warriors, they're my favorite ones. And this is no disrespect to a pro, but especially in the motocross, supercross world, I like them to try to be at the track no later than 10, done by 12:30, in bed, taking a nap no later than 1. And you talk to some of these guys and it's 11:30 and they haven't gotten out of bed yet. And then I've got a guy that runs his own business, and by 12 o'clock noon, he's been to the gym at 6. He's already had 2 Zoom meetings. He's already read his financial report, and he's on his way to another meeting at noon. And I can't get this guy out of bed at 11 o'clock. So the beautiful part with someone like you guys is we value every moment, and we realize time is money, money is time.
Yeah.
And that's why
sure.
I love putting programs together for, like, we had a guy that wanted to try to qualify for a couple of the GNC races. And when I say qualify, that was his turn. And we did the reverse engineering of his typical work week. He only had on average about 17 minutes a day to do anything outside of the office.
Jeez.
So for me, I said, look, buy a bike and just enjoy riding on the weekends, but don't ever try to race, because on 17 minutes trying to ride for 3 hours, you're just going to get hurt and you're a hindrance to everybody else.
Right.
And that's the way we just try to be very honest and blunt with people. I didn't create physiology. I didn't create nutrition, but I will teach you everything I know. Especially I had the privilege of being at the Olympic Training Center as a triathlete. I learned more there than I did with all of my master's degrees, because that's real world. And that's what I realize all of our listeners are. They live in real world. They've got baseball practice. They've got soccer practice. They've got bikes to build. They got to travel. They got to drive all night to get back to the grind on Monday morning. That's real world.
Yeah.
And I love it. That's why I love your listeners. I love the show. It's the salt of the earth. This is what makes the sport go around,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But happy to help. Like I said, whether it's answering questions or providing resources, this is my passion project. I love it.
That's awesome. Well, Coach Rob, we appreciate your time tonight, and we appreciate all the information.
Yeah.
And our awesome producer D over here. Every time that you were, I'm pretty sure that he was typing in the comment section all your information. So if you guys are listening to the show and you need to find his information and you're trying to go back and listen again, just look in the comment section, and Devin has typed that out for us from the SplitLine account. So
If you can't find it,
Awesome.
I can put it back up to where you can see it.
Yep,
So,
absolutely. So, Coach Rob, thank you again for your time tonight. We really appreciate it, and we will have to have you on. We won't have such a long break since our last conversation this time.
Anytime, buddy. Appreciate it. You guys be good. Thanks for everything you do. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Talk to you
man.
later.
Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye.
So much knowledge.
Yeah, so much
I can
knowledge.
sit there and just keep listening.
Yeah,
I saw Devin's eyes over there, like keep it like, oh, what's another one I can ask?
There's-
What's another one? See, look,
there
look
was
at
like
it.
so much stuff he's throwing out, and I'm like, damn, I'm
Yeah, go
not
back
even-
and listen 5 times.
not
just so
even
that-
close to the same level as
right.
what he's talking about.
Yeah,
So,
it's crazy.
It's very in
It's-
depth what he does, and everything. There's a reason behind everything.
Yeah, like you don't really like, like he said, we always prep our bikes, right? Like we think about like what could happen to our bikes, but I never really think about my fitness that way, right? I'm like,
Your motor.
my motor, right? My own motor. Like I went to the gym, I worked out, did my stuff, right? Like I should be fine. But like the way he breaks it down all the time is like, man, I need to be doing a lot more. Like I need to be doing, like watching really what I do and how I do it. It's
And
crazy.
if you're somebody like Devin that really, I mean, he leads 2 lives. He has the family life, and then we bust Devin's balls
chops
all the time. But for him to be able to run the series at the level that he runs it and has done it for year after year after year, along with having a family and a full-time working schedule, it's incredible. So if
how
you're
much
going
did
to put,
he pay you? Did he just?
I'm not. I
Did he
know
snake you at 20 or
he
something?
did 50.
Jeez,
what,
Devin.
hey, don't tell him.
But
He
the
might
thing-
try to upcharge.
But the thing is what I'm trying to get at is if you're going to go through all that trouble to do it, you might as well
Do it right.
do it right. And know that you're driving down to Georgia from West Virginia in the middle of the night with the best bike, the best body, and ready to go out there and perform.
You know what's actually scary for me? And sorry, I didn't mean to hold us up.
No, you're
No,
good. Go
you're
ahead.
good.
Good.
The fact that I've tried like the whole eating healthy thing and all that stuff, and people make fun of me because I do like the chocolate chip cookies thing.
Mhm.
But if I don't eat stuff like that,
You feel
I
like
won't
crap?
make it through a race.
Yeah, you feel like crap, right?
Yeah, I like
That-
crash out.
That's the way I feel. Like everybody looks at me, I'm like, listen, if I don't do this, like I'm gonna be like, but
Yeah.
but like, if you do it the Coach Rob way, if you won't even need that chocolate chip cookie, I promise you. Like
That's what I'm saying. I don't know
crazy.
how to do it correctly.
Yeah.
Get that
And
energy
then-
fuel.
Do the membership.
I swear that energy fuel is delicious too.
Do the membership. It's awesome. If you want to listen to Coach Rob with all that knowledge, he's on there all the time. He
Yep.
tells you what to do. There's all kinds of stuff on there, guys. I promise.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, hey guys, we're going to go straight into commercial break
We have
now.
another guest. What?
And we have another guest. We have Austin Austin Abney coming on the show now. So it's going to be awesome to get to talk to him. And we'll be right back.
The last commercial.
Yep.
You've seen them at the track. Now, online. Magna1motorsports.com. From used bikes, just like Jordan Chase and the rest of the team ride. Plus, all the gear you need. Helmets, goggles, gear, and more. Magna1motorsports.com or trackside at GNCC and NEPG events. Be sure to pick up a bottle of Magna 1's Magna 1 Clean It, revolutionary cleaning product for your dirt bike. Coming soon. Join Chase Landers and Team Clean. Trackside for everything you need when you need it. And at your fingertips at Magna1motorsports.com. Magna 1 Motorsports and Magna1motorsports.com, your everything dirt bike headquarters.
Doug here from Sunstar Sprockets and Chains. I just wanted to take the time to thank you for listening to the SplitLine Offroad podcast and for a great 2022 season. I look forward to meeting as many of you as I can on the GNCC circuit next year, which reminds me, SplitLine has talked me into continuing with their discount code. All you need to do is go to our website, sunstar-braking.com, and use the code SplitLine30 to get 30% off your order. If you are not a Sunstar rider and you would like to be, then check out the Racer tab while you are there. If the link is active, then we are still accepting riders.
Hey guys, it's Mason with Steel Sabers. If you've been listening to the show for a while or you've been around dirt bikes for a bit, you should know that Steel Sabers makes the ultimate fork seal protection for your dirt bike. Not only do we have a full range of product for your dirt bike, we also have a variety of products for your side-by-side, for your mountain bike, for your quad. Be sure to check out our coil savers and CV boot savers for a double layer protection over your CV boot. Check out steelsavers.com and enter the code SPLITLINE for 25% off. That's steelsavers.com and the code is SPLITLINE for 25% off. Thanks for listening to the show.
All right, guys, and we are back. We are back from our last commercial break for the evening, and on the line we have XC1 Pro ATV rider Austin Abney. Abney, what's going on, man?
Oh, I'm just hanging out in the shop like I do every night.
Good
Heck
deal.
yeah,
Good
man.
deal. Working on some bikes right now?
Just I was actually getting ready to groove some Maxxis tires.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, grooving.
So when you're grooving tires, I've always it's something I've never done, but I've always found very interesting. Is there does everybody have their own way of doing it, or is there kind of a standard way to do it?
I mean, for the most part, we all do it the same on a Maxxis tire anyway. I don't know about the
Right.
others, but
Right.
we go straight across on the I don't know what you want to call it, the lugs that have 3 in the center with 2 shorts on the outside, and then on the lugs that have 4 big ones all the way across, the 2 in the center we go straight across, and on each end we crisscross them.
Okay.
Man, you just bring back like talking about some tire grooving. When I was a kid, when I first got
dirt
around,
track day.
when
huh?
I got around like motocross and everything, like turf tamers were like huge, right? And everybody like grooved out what tread pattern they wanted out of the turf tamers. It was like everybody did it at Pyramid. It was
That's
crazy.
some serious grooving there.
Yeah, like you kind of groove out your turf tamer the way you want them, and
So you basically build your own
tire, right? Yeah.
I started grooving my tires because I'd get like 15 races on them, and I'd be like, okay, these are a little bald now, so I better put a sharp edge back.
So
How's the season been going, man?
It's been rough. I'm not gonna lie. It's been rough. Just getting back in the groove of things, and we finally had a decent weekend this last weekend. But the first couple rounds have been not ideal at all. But I kind of seem to do that every year. I don't know if it's just breaking in new bikes or if it's just me getting, like I said, back in the groove of it. But just seems to be what's happened with me. But we'll try and change that next year.
Yeah. Well, how's your back feeling and your knee? I know that last time we talked to you, you had some issues going on with those.
Yeah. So I had another knee surgery this last winter.
Okay.
And I plan on having another knee surgery this coming winter on the opposite knee. But that'll make number 5 or I think number 6. Yeah.
For knee surgeries.
So, yes, sir. Yep. So
this is what happens when you race ATVs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's just part of it. But no, it's they're holding up all right. They're holding up all right at the back. We're working on getting figured out. I'm doing some cupping, some tens unit, in the evenings, and just trying to figure it out. It's one of those things that I've tried to go to doctors, try to figure it out. I've been told multiple different things. You need surgery, you don't need surgery, you need to stretch, you need to do this, you need to do that. Nothing's really worked out. I'm not gonna lie. I've kind of stayed out of the gym here recently. I had Levi Cohen sending me workouts over the winter, in between my surgery and all that. But I don't know what it is. But I go in the gym and I'm in there for a couple of days and something new pops up in my body, and it's frustrating. So I'm just trying to stick to my my maintenance and the quads in the evenings, and trying to ride as much as I can.
Yeah.
So
feels like kind of fight an uphill battle at all times. I'm sure whenever you're trying to work out.
Complain by no means.
Yeah.
We're all fighting whatever it takes, to make it happen. But in the last year and a half, I feel like I just keep fighting my body.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had a lot of good, a lot of bad, but hopefully we're looking up from here.
Right.
I can relate to this on the back injury thing because I injured my back when I was like 16, 17. Went to the doctor. They kept telling me it was fine. I just needed same thing they were telling you basically. Like one would tell you do something, the other one would tell you not to. And then they'd tell you go do stretches and all these things. But they never actually found what was wrong. They just kept telling me to do all these things. And then I kept having the same problem. So eventually I just stopped going back to the doctor because I'm like, well, they're not telling me anything that's going to help. So I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and just put up with it, I guess. And then eventually it kind of started to go away, and then it was a little bit better. And then I actually had last year, I think it was, they took some x-rays because it started flaring up again. And they found that I had fractured some of the vertebrae in my back. And they were like, hey, did you know that you broke your back at one point? And I was like, no, I had no clue. Nobody ever told me. And they were like, well, that could be part of the problem. And so I just recently figured out what kind of caused the problems, but it's been long enough now and we've done enough stuff that it doesn't necessarily bother me all the time at this point, but it's still frustrating and still something that, I can relate to what you're saying and understand exactly what it's like when you're going and they're like, oh yeah, well, we can't do anything to help you, or we don't know what's wrong. So
yes, the amount of times I heard we're not real sure what's going on, and it's one of those things I even questioned myself, like, are you kind of being a baby about it? Like, are you just going out there and not being the man you need to be? But all of us in the racing world know what it takes to be up there and run like we do. And at the end of the day, I truly feel like there's something jacked up, but I'm just gonna keep pushing through it because it's either I make it happen or I hang it up, and I'm damn sure I'm not ready for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure it's always good. You're, Indiana guy, and I'm sure it's always good when you get to that Ironman track. It's kind of like a shot in the arm for you, I'm sure. And then, like, I know that you like these northern rounds a lot as well.
I do. I'm very excited to be done with the South. And definitely, I'm 20 minutes from home at that Ironman track. All my buddies show up, my family, of course, all my sponsors that are normally there, they're there. And my buddy Ross and my girlfriend Sadie were running around on a Honda Grom all day. Just I saw them 3-4 times per lap. I got a bunch of video of all the guys that get videos of me, and they were sending them to me, and they're in the background screaming and cheering for me, and along with all my other buddies. That's a big a confidence booster when you're out there.
Yeah.
So that definitely helps, and hopefully that's all it took for me to get my momentum going for the year was have that one decent race, and from here, just I know I'm capable. I just got to make it happen.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. And for us as fans and us, as having the opportunity to talk to you multiple times, it's really awesome whenever you're up there in the mix, it just makes the racing better. It's fun to watch, and it's really good to see you up there. And I'm really pulling for you to be able to build off of this good finish this past weekend.
I definitely appreciate that. I've talked to my dad a bunch of times, like at Coker, Camp Coker, my back was pretty much junk from the time we left the house headed to the race, which is very uncommon. I sat in training at work all week, from like 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then we jumped in a truck, drove 11 hours south. And, so I kind of was down going into that race, and I'm not a sand rider. We knew that.
Yeah.
And, so trying to push through all that, I told him at the end of the race, I was just happy to finish. I was damn near in tears the whole race from my back. And then on top of that, if you're not up there with the main group running, having fun, everything hurts. My hands were blistered up, and I've finished plenty of races, especially like my XC2 days. I finished the race, I'd win or I'd get top 3, and I'd take my gloves off and be like, "Holy cow, my hands are destroyed."
Right.
But I never noticed it mid race. But if you're not having a good day and your hands go to crap, or your knees start hurting, or your back's hurting, it just makes it 10 times worse.
And the race seems to go longer and longer.
A 2-hour race seems like 6.
Right.
So, there's a lot to that, to having fun and being up there and riding with the guys. So it was a good relief to be able to do that this last weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's probably your best finish this year, right? 6th place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 6th. I think it's technically 7th, if we're being honest. I don't think they have Jared McClure in the finishing. He did cross the finish line behind Jay, so it was 7th. But I don't want to take anything away from him. Like I said, he finished 6th. I got to 7th. They haven't updated it yet, but either way, I was happy to finish and be. And this sounds awful, but I was happy to finish and be within 3-ish minutes of that front group. Not counting Bryson because he's on a level, but the other group, put it that way, it seems kind of crazy, but that was a good day for me. Get me back up where I need to be.
Right.
Do you think it made a difference this weekend that maybe you were riding with a little more purpose than just being at the race? I know you were running a different number on the bike and stuff. So
yeah, it was it was a rough weekend. But rough in a good way, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
On the track anyway, I was, like you said, definitely riding with more of a purpose than normal. We actually were we laid him to rest today, so it's been a rough day today too. But
definitely,
that definitely pushed me along a little bit.
Definitely sorry to hear about that. It's tragic when we lose anybody from the racing world, and it's tragic when anything happens like that. Anyways, outside of the racing world in general. But I know you ran the number on the bike, so I didn't know if maybe that gave you a little more oomph to get you to closer to the front or not. So
yeah, for sure. My buddy Ross, he right before I took off, he said when you're tired or when you're hurting, he said just look down at your number and make it happen. So I definitely did that a lot that day. Like I said, it was very sentimental for me. Gave me a little extra drive, and like I said, it was a little bit of a rough weekend, but it all worked out.
Right. Yep. That's awesome. So speaking of the bike, I know this is your 2nd year on the Yamaha. Are we getting that thing figured out?
Yes. Day by day, man. I like I mentioned earlier, like the whole first part of the season with building new bikes and going out and just running them. Being here in Indiana, there's not a whole lot of good time to ride before the first start of the season. So I usually go out there with bikes that literally have 0.2 hours on them or 0.1 hour on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually came back from, I think it was the second South Carolina race, the Tiger Run, and I looked at Dad. I'm like, I'm riding my race bikes, and I don't want to talk myself up like I ride all the time. I really don't. I wish I could. It just doesn't always happen that way. But I did for 2.5 weeks. I rode race bikes and just was the hardest I possibly could on them. I went out there and I was hitting hills and hitting jumps and bumps as hard as I could, trying to break these things in. You know, new race bikes are cool. You know, we all post about them like, oh, freshies, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, give me the bike that's got 20 plus hours on it, and let me go ride that thing. So we broke some quads in, starting to feel better on them. You know, got 10 plus hours on each new bike, and definitely starting to feel better on them. You know, it's the same setup that I ran last year on the other bikes. Made a few small tweaks here and there, but you got to be comfortable on the bike before you go race it.
Right.
And that's definitely where I've lacked in the past. So we're going to take a little different approach this coming year, this winter and all that. We're going to build new bikes, but we're also going to keep some of the old bikes and maybe start the year on I say an old bike, a bike that's got roughly 20 to 30 hours on it that's broken, that I'm comfortable on.
So when you're saying broken, are you talking about like the frame? Is that what you're talking about?
You know, when I say new bike, I mean, we're talking literally brand new. I gusset the frame in 3 places, nothing crazy, just on the front end there. But you know, it's brand new shocks, brand new A-arms, every bushing, wheels, you know, all the bearings, you know, carrier bearings, swing arm bearings, hubs, steering stem bearing, all that. So just breaking them in to where it's not so stiff.
I got you. I wasn't sure because I know like when dirt bike guys, they talk like the frame is stiff until like 20 hours of riding, and then it starts getting the flex like for like dirt bikes. I wasn't sure.
There's definitely a thing to that. Like I said, I've got the practice bike here. I think I've got 30 some hours on it. It was a race bike towards the end of last year, and been riding it, and I am so comfy on that quad. So there's definitely a thing to that, and I'm going to take that for what it is, and definitely bring that into next year. But that's been a big thing for me. Right. I think between starting out with new bikes and not being able to break them in, you know, it's the time of year where I've had a little bit more. You know, I've had a couple of local races in me, had some national races. Bikes are getting broke in, getting comfy on the quad again. So I'm definitely looking to be up there and you know, finish the year out strong.
Yeah. Being that you're in year 2 on the Yamaha, are you still getting any, you know, flack from a certain older generation folk,
especially like the guy that took second place this weekend?
Yeah, like Adam McGill, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Are you still getting flack from him about not riding red?
I am. You know, I go out to his house every at the end of the year. We ride side by sides. Him and I are really good buds, but yeah, he still gives me shit all the time, man. He, you know, if I was still on a Honda, he would too. So
I don't know what it is.
What it is.
I don't know what it is with that guy, but no matter what, he's going to give you crap about something.
He is. He's just going to. It's just part of him.
I mean, it's just what people do in their older age, right?
he is getting old. Holy cow! He's not as old as that Chris Borch, though. I mean, Chris just turned like 41.
Oh man! Speaking of Chris Borch, I just saw an old video of him like on a 250R to GNCC, and I'm like,
250.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they're getting close to like jorts and white New Bounces age right now. So.
Yeah. It was funny this last weekend. Chris came to me before the race. He said, you know, if I beat you this round, it's going to be pretty sad. He said, I'm 41. I had some broken ribs from Coker, and that's going to be bad. I said, now, Chris, and you think about this. It depends on how you word that. If you word it that way, it does sound bad. But if you word it the way of 6-time champ, all-time winning ATV racer, it doesn't sound as bad.
That's
so
right.
It's all in the wording there.
It's all perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about the perspective. Yeah.
But no, it's been cool these last couple of years, really getting to know all the XC1 guys and becoming really good buddies with them. So that has been awesome.
Yeah. That's a good deal. And honestly, man, I know, you know, we can sit here and talk about Bryson's speed till we're blue in the face, but aside from Bryson, the entire class is extremely competitive with each other, and it's a lot of fun racing to watch. really, you guys from top to bottom of the class, it is a lot of really, really good riders, and you know, a sixth place is an extremely impressive feat in this class.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, my guys at work, and not taking anything away from them, they just don't understand the racing side of it. And some of the guys, or some of the people that just don't understand the national level, you know, they ask, and they're all supportive, but you know, they ask, "How'd you do this weekend?" And I'm like, I finished 10th, or I finished 6th, or whatever it is, and like, oh, that's all right. And it's like, yeah, that is.
You don't understand.
If you look at the level, I mean, we're not back in C class anymore. It's tough. It is. So
yeah,
I was very happy to walk away with what I did this last weekend. And I just hope, like I said, I hope it keeps the momentum going. And at the end of the day, I just want to go have fun.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't had fun at the first what was it, 5 rounds,
right?
4 or 5 rounds, whatever it's been.
Right.
I haven't had a whole lot of fun. Granted, it's been fun being there and traveling, doing everything I do with Dad and the whole family. But if you go out there and actually race and have fun, it's a whole new level.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you finish, you care where you finish, but at the end of the day, you cross the finish line, you did your best, and you had fun. But if you don't have fun, it's tough to cross that finish line and make that 6 to 11, 12-hour drive home.
Yeah. I think that we can all agree, and what it's kind of like you talk about that flow state. When you're having fun, you get in that flow, and it just seems like things come a little bit easier, and you enjoy the race a little bit better, and it seems like the race is not quite as long. And you know, like you were talking about with guys not really understanding the level of racing, you take somebody that finishes in the top 10 at a local race, and they're probably getting lapped and possibly not finishing in the top 80 in a national. And I know that from experience, because that's exactly what I would do.
Yeah, it's just a different game. It is, and I enjoy it. I really do. I enjoy racing nationals, but I do love me racing some locals. I love locals. Just I think partially because they're close to home. Like I said, they're locals, but I do enjoy going out there and seeing all the local people and hanging out with them too.
Yeah. Well, your local series that you run, the IXCR, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you guys usually have really good turnouts and a lot of good talent there as well.
Yeah, it's a local series, but it's not at the same time. Sometimes it feels more than that. But no, I race the IXCRs. I do that religiously. I do those and GCs, and then I hit Crossroads, Extreme, and Midwest when I can. And yet again, going back to some of the conversations Dad and I've had this year, I think it was actually the Coker we were coming home from, and I looked at Dad like, back in 2020, 2019, I was running 30 to 45 plus races a year. I mean, it was double headers. It was every weekend. And I've always said, you can't get any better practice than racing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to hit as many local rounds as I can this year. Last year, I wouldn't like to say I slacked off, but there was a couple of weekends I was like, I'm going to take the weekend off and just kind of chill, which there's something to be said for doing that. But at the end of the day, like we talked about, the level we're at now, you got to stay up on it. And I'm definitely going to do as much local racing and national racing as I can.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah. I think we got some questions for you.
Yeah. So we've been bouncing throughout the show tonight because we've had 3 guests on. We've been bouncing in and out of our Sunstar Chain and Sprocket segment. It's the shifting gear segment. Usually we do this in between our guests, but since we had 3, we're kind of bouncing in and out of this segment. So some of the questions were actually for you, and Devin has got them over here.
All right. So the first question is, what do you think is holding yourself and the rest of the pack back from being able to beat Bryson Neal?
Wow.
That's a tough one, huh?
Came right out of the gate with that one, right?
Yeah, that's a question now. Man, he's figured something out. Him and Walker both have. And I'm questioning myself, thinking maybe Adam has too. Adam's had a lot of good finish this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're on another level, and I have not been able to pinpoint what it is yet, or I'd be up there. But I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say, I talked to Bryson and then one day he said it just clicked or whatever it is. But no, if I knew the answer to that, you wouldn't be asking me that. So I don't know. But no, man, those guys are fast. I don't know the answer to that one.
Right.
All right. So the definite answer we got was one day it should just click and you'll know.
Hey,
that's all I know. And you know what? I'm hoping and praying for that day, and that's why I'm trying to race and ride as much as I can.
I know it sounds crazy, but that stuff actually just works like that. You can watch a kid, even like a 6-year-old kid, 7-year-old kid, whatever, and you can watch them one day and struggle all day long, and then all at once it's like something just changes in them, and it's like, dude's ripping.
I think we're kind of caught up by the moment right now, but I think a really good example of this exact situation right here is Devin Feehan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look what 100%. He did a couple years ago. Like, it seemed like it just clicked for him, and it kind of sucks that we're not getting to see it still, because I would love to see the progression of him still. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it really did just click for him one day, and then all of a sudden the dude starts racking off podiums.
Yeah. Oh, and the thing is too, the whole clicking for somebody is different in each person. You know, for Devin, I feel like it was definitely his fitness and his eating and all that. And I can't say for Bryson or Walker or Adam what it was, or maybe it would have been, maybe it is that. I don't know. But it seems like in every person, the click they find is something different.
And especially at your guys' level, the click could be very small. Like a little change could just make or break you guys, because you guys are freaking fat, already fast.
Yeah.
Going speeds that are crazy, and you just need just a little something. There's something just a little.
I mean, we're talking about how amazingly fast Bryson is, but in reality, like, what is it really? Is it maybe 0.5% faster than the rest of the pro class? I mean, that's all it is.
Right.
But you're talking about a 2-hour race, and that 0.5% really shows itself
at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's a half second in each corner.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems very little, right? I mean, in the moment, like you said, but after 2 hours, that half a second turns into 3 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
it could be worse. My dad breaks it down. He'll look at my lap times and how far I'm behind somebody, and he'll break it down per mile, how many seconds I have to make up. And then you're like, well, that doesn't seem like a lot of seconds. And then you start thinking about what that 1 mile looked like, and you're like, all right, that kind of sucks.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, another question?
What is your pre-race meal, and what is your preferred drink during the race?
Oh, pre-race meal has changed a little bit. Levi Cohen from Alley Performance has kind of got me on eating I'm eating either chicken or fish and a baked potato right before the race. I say right before, like an hour, 2 hours before the race. And pickle juice.
Oh,
pickle juice.
That's a different one.
So what's behind the pickle juice?
Is it like the salt?
It's supposed to help with cramps.
Okay.
Cramping up, locking up, which is what my back is seeming to do. I don't know, because I'm not a doctor by no means, but there's plenty of videos out there, because I do it every race. When I get, my back is really, really hurting, I kind of like stretch my back and lean back, and it's like my muscles locking up. So basically, like, think of it arm pump but back pump.
Huh.
So that's where the pickle juice came in, trying to do that. I drink a lot of Pedialyte the day before, the day of, and then just try and drink some water.
Have you felt like the pickle juice or the routine now has helped with the back issues?
I don't know. I really don't. It's one of those
placebo effect, maybe.
Continue. Dude, what?
Placebo effect. What is that? Is that what it's called? Whenever you trick your mind into thinking that it works.
Exactly. Hey, if I can trick my mind into it, then it works. But I'm sticking to that. If it works, good. If not, I'm still doing it. So
yeah.
We'll see, I guess.
Hey, Brandon, I wonder if Coach Rob would actually have any suggestions for that.
He might.
We just had Coach Rob on, and the dude is just like like an encyclopedia when it comes to the body
fitness
and I wonder
nutrition.
if he would.
Yeah. Maybe if you haven't talked to him before, you maybe should reach out and talk to
He
him.
told all of our listeners just to message him and reach out with any questions, whether they're like a partner of his or not. So
right, yeah,
that could be an
I
avenue.
definitely have to do that because I mean he could tell me to eat dirt before the race, and if it works, I don't care.
That
I'm to the point where I would do whatever. You know, I've told my my friends and my dad, you know, like I used to enjoy. And even like locals, I used to enjoy when you were done with the race, you were headed home, or even the day after the race, how you felt, kind of sore, but not like to the point where you were like miserable.
Like after a good workout.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, back in, you know, high school days or junior high or whatever, when you had practice and you'd come home tired, you want to eat, just go to bed.
Right.
I used to enjoy that a lot. And now it's almost to the point where like it hurts more. It hurts more than it feels good.
Hey, I'm like that too. I'm just a lot older.
Well,
yeah. Well, I'm 24. I mean,
Brandon feels like that getting out of bed.
I do, man. Like too many injuries, knee injuries and stuff, man. It's like that was fun, but then when you get in the truck and you drive 3 hours and you go to get out, and you're like, oh my god, I cannot move. Like,
well, plus Austin's a welder too, so that probably doesn't help.
Right. Yeah.
He gets the
yeah. So I mean, I'm not saying I'm not having fun by no means. Don't get me wrong. I'm still doing it, so I'm still enjoying it. But it definitely has changed over the years of how I feel after a race.
Yeah. Speaking of welder, how many bikes are you welding at the track on average?
You know, it varies. There's times like this last weekend, I won't touch a single quad, and then there's times I've done 5 or 6.
Seriously, I was kind of making a joke. I didn't realize you, because I remember seeing the video of Gabriel Nod, helping his bike get fixed up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that if I were to advertise more, I could probably be busy the whole time I'm there before the race. And it is, you know, once that one person comes up to me and I get all my stuff drug out of the truck and I do it. It seems to be within 30 minutes. I either get a random call on my phone, or I get someone to show up to the pits and they're like, "Hey, can you weld this?" And then it just kind of keeps going from there. So I think it's one of those. Once I get the stuff out, people find out I have it.
Right.
But no, if anyone's listening, if you ever have an issue with something needs welded or something I can help with, I will gladly help. Whether it be the Friday before, the Saturday morning of, I enjoy doing that. It honestly keeps my mind off the whole racing thing right before the race and kind of soothes me a little bit. So I'll gladly help anyone I can before the race.
Is that not just like honestly the perfect example of the GNCC crew?
Could you imagine Eli Tomac saying, "Hey, come over, I want your bike"?
Yeah, it wouldn't be very good.
I would trust Austin before I'd trust Tomac. Yeah.
Burn a big hole in your frame or something. You can't finish the race.
Yeah.
Oh, darn. Sorry. No.
Tomac pushes it back and he goes, "It's all fixed up." Make it off the start gate and you're like sitting there with
shoot. I love it.
So I guess we know that Austin and Jay Shad are going to be partnering up. Jay's going to be selling the gussets.
Yeah.
Austin's going to be welding
on the gun. There you go.
Bring them on. We'll weld them up.
There we go. Any more questions over there?
So out of all of the quad riders, who do you think would be an F1 driver?
Oh, boy. Wow.
Wasn't there a guy that did actually go from quads and went and raced cars at some point? Am I thinking right?
I mean, Shane Hitt went from
not
motocross to dirt cars.
I'm thinking asphalt cars.
I don't know.
I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that one.
I could be completely
I mean, we've
wrong.
had farmers, bass fishers. I mean, there's been a lot of different careers picked up.
Mountain
after
bike
racing.
racers.
Yeah, mountain bike. Whatever.
So F1 cars, huh?
Yeah. That these are from our listeners. So
we've told them the more wild the question is, the better chance you have of getting asked.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to stick with my gut that the one guy that came first to my mind, it would be Adam McGill.
Wow.
Just because he's the Gator, and for two, he'll talk shit to anybody. So just being honest. I'm just being honest there. So I think he would fit right in with those guys.
Well, his dad raced cars,
That's
right?
what I was going
Right,
to say.
yeah.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
He did come from car racing. So.
Yeah, I could see him
Yeah.
like just being like Ricky Bobby out there.
That's kind of, I mean, it's not the same kind of racing, but I think he can fit in. I really do.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason,
Who's this Italian guy?
Yes.
the ATV community is pretty close with like dirt track racing,
Right.
a little bit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of overlaps. You got, like
Yeah.
you said, Shane Hitt, and there's a lot of examples of that.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
Any more
For
questions,
sure.
Devin?
I think that's it for now.
That's it for
Okay.
now.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Austin Abney, is there anything? I think we covered everything.
We think we did cover everything. No, I mean, it's always awesome to have you on the show. It's always I always enjoy these types of interviews, just real lighthearted and fun, and man, just awesome to see you back up there and really where you belong in that top 10 and just doing battle and having a good time.
We did get hashtag most hated in the comments
Oh
section.
man, it's been a minute since we've heard that.
Oh
Yeah.
boy! So it's funny. I've just recently kind of stepped up my merchandise, and I got some shirts made. I got some koozies made, which we sold a bunch of both of those at this last race, and I got some wristbands made. And Dad and I were kind of going through what we were going to do, and obviously I did the AA 703 on the wristbands, and he's like, "What else do you want to do?" I'm like, I don't know. He's like, "We'll do hashtag something." I'm like, "Well, and we can't do hashtag AA 703 on the other side of them. Like we put that on the first side." So I was like, the only hashtag that comes to mind is most hated. So I guess it's back.
It's back.
It's back.
It's back. It's on the wristbands. No hard feelings there at all, but it's back. So you'll be seeing more of the most hated. It's funny. Adam and I actually bringing up old Gator again. It was 2 years ago, I think. He was going to get most loved on like a butt patch on the pants, and I was going to get most hated. We never ended up doing it. Maybe we will eventually. But yeah, the most hated, it's back.
Good deal.
I love it.
Good deal. Hey, if it's in the comments section, it's official.
That's
it's
right.
back.
That's right. You know, that's like Facebook official. I mean, it just is.
Yeah. What was it? A few weeks ago, who did we have on? What was it? Dirt Nasty.
Oh,
Wyatt Wilkins.
Old WW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had hashtag dirt nasty in the comment section everywhere. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I love this type of stuff.
That's before the race last week. I went up to him. I said, "Is it going to get dirt nasty out here or what?" He said, "Oh, you know it." They were like filming with the camera and stuff.
Yeah. Shoot. That's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually funny. The whole most hated comes from Trey McDaniel. You guys probably don't know him. Used to be known around here as the Mullet Man. He in 2020 he was at the first couple of rounds, and one of the rounds it got heated, you know, and everything happened, whatever. But he made a post about me winning that race and just put the hashtag most hated. And in 2020, man, it stuck. And before I even posted it, shared it, whatever, I mean, people were asking me, "What's this most hated? What's this, that?" And ever since then, it stuck. Kind of died down over the last year, but like I said, it's back.
I love it.
Hey, if the most hated's back, then we know that you're feeling it and ready to go out there and do battle, and we're excited. I'm excited. Was it John Penton next?
Yeah.
John Penton, I love that place.
Last year you had a really good run at John Penton, didn't you?
I had a really good run going until I ate a tree. But you know what? As I'm learning, you know, hey, as we were just talking about Wyatt Wilkins, I think he may have ate a tree this last weekend.
Right.
I think, unfortunately, eating trees every now and then. Now, to the kids coming up, don't listen to this. The parents especially. I think that's part of the process. It just happens. You know, in Indiana, sorry, Wyatt, they do call them the Indiana jumping trees. And I think one of them got him.
Yeah.
But
hey,
last year, one in Ohio got me, so he got me back.
Yeah.
One claimed Hunter Hart a little bit.
This past weekend,
that's true.
Yeah.
You know what? I think it's funny you say that. I think one claimed him at Ironman last year too.
Oh,
at the
wow.
top of Twin Hills.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It did. I remember that. Hey, if you're racing GNCC and you've never hit a tree, you're definitely not pushing it hard enough.
Exactly. And then, like I said, that's why I think it's part of the process. It's nothing any parents want to hear, or grandparents. But if you're not hitting trees every now and then, you might want to step it up a little bit.
They get like trees get like a
So
quarter inch
there's my
closer.
advice for the day.
Right?
I swear,
you're
the
not-
trees move closer to the track every lap.
If you're not, I think the line just gets shoved out a little bit further.
Now,
than trees.
I'm going with the trees move.
Hey, that reminds me of a question. How stiff do you run your stabilizer?
Oh wow. I start out, I go all the way tight on
Okay.
both knobs. And then there is well, technically there's 4 big notches all the way around it. And then I run it 3 small notches out.
Okay.
It
Pretty stiff.
nowhere near as stiff as Bryson Neal runs his, because I've ran his bike at one of the him and I were doing hole shots one day last year. I wasn't running through the woods by no means, but we were doing hole shots on each other's quads and stuff. And I could barely, for one, even pull his clutch in, and for 2, turn the quad.
Really?
So I don't run it that stiff, but I do run it fairly stiff, and that's something over the last couple of years I've learned. I used to kind of always back it down and make it a little looser, but in moments like this last weekend where I felt like I was pushing myself a little bit compared to the first couple rounds, it's needed.
Mhm.
If you don't have it that stiff when you are going that fast, you slip up a little bit, and those jumping trees, they catch you a little easier.
Yeah. See, I always ran mine extra stiff as well, and my theory behind it was if I do hit a tree, I'd rather not have the handlebars ripped out of my hands.
Well,
exactly. and it's for me, it's always hard to set it, and then just like, you see people, they'll adjust it or whatever, and they'll just like go in first or second gear and just kind of turn the handlebars and try and feel it, right?
Yeah.
Until you're out there actually bouncing off the trees and hitting the bumps and the kickers and everything, it's hard to tell how it actually is going to feel. So I would rather be on the stiffer side than the looser side.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I usually run mine on the shelf in the garage.
Hey, Brandon, tell Austin what what if you're ball on a major budget.
This only works for like motocross, because you only get like 15-minute motos, so don't do this in the woods. But we back in the day, when we raced quads on motos, we couldn't afford these really nice high dollar precision stabilizers.
We were balling on a major budget back then.
What we would do, Cooper would do, is we would take the what was it, the clamp that holds the stem like down to the frame. He'd loosen that up and wrap a black electrical tape around it to make it real stiff, and then he'd bolt it back down. So then it would last for about three or four laps, and then we come back off for second moto. He'd take it back apart and rewrap it.
Oh my!
I spent.
Yeah, you guys you need to talk to Precision and get you a stabilizer.
Oh no! Nowadays,
now he's got one.
Nowadays, we got stabilizers and everything. This was when
we were like 20.
We were like 20, and like we had
nothing,
crappy jobs.
Yeah,
and this, I remember this was at like we used all of our money to go to High Point for the ATV National.
Yeah, yes, it was either Steel City or High Point.
It's just I'm pretty sure it was High Point because it was like concrete.
Yeah, that was High Point.
Yeah, I remember by the last lap, the duct tape, or not the duct tape, but the electrical tape was gone. Yeah,
it's funny you talk about that, because we were talking earlier about the whole passing of Jake, and that brings back the whole memories of the whole sick racing crew when I first started and everything. And Garen Davis, you guys probably don't know him, but he was big into racing with Todd and Marshall and all them back in the day. And he used to tell me when I first started, which was 2014, 2015 time, we all have these fancy Scott goggles or whatever goggle your choice with the roll off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he would always say, when we first started, we would unwind that roll, we'd clean it off, and we'd roll it back up and reuse it.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking to my head now, like, come on, Garen, like we're talking like pennies here, and you're spending hours trying to clean this stuff, and you're scratching the hell out of it, trying to get it all back up, and you're trying to reuse that.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to snip that out and send it to him if he's not listening. But I still remember that. And every time after a race, when I take my goggles apart, clean them up, sometimes I have no roll left. Sometimes I have half of it. Sometimes I have almost all of it. Every time I throw it away, I'm thinking of, man, back in the day, Garen really had to work for this.
Yeah, it's tell you what, man. Sometimes time
But those
gets rough.
those are the best memories, though, right?
Oh man.
I mean,
Yep.
I remember at Pyramid Valley, Brandon, taking a steering stem out of a bike and stick it in the back of a trailer hitch of a truck and
bend it back
straight
out
with a hand.
so you can race Moto 2.
Yes, it can race Moto 2. There was
That's
more.
awesome.
There was more zip
Oh,
ties than
man.
bolts on that bike at one point.
Geez. It was.
Yeah,
It was.
that's where the heart really shows in the whole sport.
Oh yeah. And it seems like it's always on the quad side because, man, they're so expensive to race these things, keep them going all the time.
It is.
So, Jesus.
I don't know how many times I've
For
rolled to the
sure.
line with people questioning my life decisions on what I was riding. They're like, "You're seriously going to ride that?"
Yeah.
I went to the line one time, heavy duty zip ties, tie wire wrapped around the ball joint. And they were like, "What's that for?" I said, "Well, it was questionable on whether it was going to make it or not. So I figured I better have some kind of safety to hold the A arm in place."
Good Lord.
And they're like, "So you're going to run that today?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't have anything else. So yeah."
See, that's Devin's psychological games on the competition because they're afraid if he gets in front of them, his bike's gonna explode in front of them.
Hey, I won. I
Exactly.
won that day.
I won that day.
Yeah, they weren't laughing so much after the race. I've also done some stuff
That's
that
awesome.
didn't make it though.
Right. Yeah.
we know that. We
We know all those times.
Yeah.
So, and is there any more questions for Austin?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, Austin. Hey, man, we're gonna let you go. It's getting pretty late at night, buddy, but we appreciate your time tonight.
Mhm.
Always appreciate having you on the show and getting to cut it up with you a little bit.
Yeah, anytime. Give me a holler and we'll chat it up.
All
Oh,
right, man. Well, good luck at the John Penton, and we'll be there. So we'll stop by and say hey.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right,
All
later,
right, man.
man.
Thanks, bud.
See ya.
All right.
Yeah.
Austin Abney, man, it's always fun talking to him. Just a lighthearted guy. It's good talking to him. I'm really pumped, and I really do mean it that whenever he's up front, being able to battle up there, it just makes it that much better.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's he was that guy that came from XC2 a couple years ago and just rolling, right?
Yeah. Most hated. Hashtag.
The most hated. And I think, give him a year or two, give him some time to figure some things out.
Get that back
He'll be-
figured out,
yeah.
his knees figured out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He'll be right back up there. So
Yeah, absolutely. So, Devin, let's finish off that Sunstar Chain and Sprocket shifting gear segment that's been kind of all over the place tonight, but been a good show.
Yeah.
Been a good show,
Yeah.
fellas.
It has.
It's.
Yeah.
I feel like last week we kind of. I think people liked it though.
I
We
don't
went off the rails a little bit, but
I don't know if they liked it or not.
well, I don't really care.
Was it one of those shows that it was so bad that you just had to listen to?
No, I don't think so. I think sometimes it's nice to hear something that's not quite as not corporate. No, we're not corporate, but
But we're
like
definitely not corporate.
no.
If we were corporate,
I mean-
we fell.
I mean, like not. What am I trying to say? Like on a schedule,
Right.
right? Because like tonight we were on a schedule,
Schedule,
and
right.
we did daggone good.
Not too bad.
Staying on that
Not
schedule.
too bad.
But like last week, it was just like, hey, let's just hit record and what we don't even know what we're going to talk about. Ended up talking a lot about baseball.
Well, you try to talk a lot about baseball.
Hey, Mountaineers won 9-8 tonight.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's good, I guess.
I know you care. Oh, it's a backyard brawl. All right, Devin, let's finish those questions.
What's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, he's a little. I don't
Who
know.
even hired him?
I don't know. I've been trying to figure out from HR. I've been asking what's going on with this guy.
All right. So, first question: if Rodney and Brandon had to go on Jerry Springer, what's the episode about, and who's throwing punches?
So is this talking about our dysfunction?
Are we like a couple?
I guess so. So Brandon,
Or who's the daddy?
if they're you are not the father.
Yes.
If you I'm going to take it like this, I guess, right?
Right.
If we were to be fighting about something, what would it be?
Oh, I don't know.
Baseball on a podcast.
Because we've had our moments in real life.
Yeah.
We're not the perfect couple.
No. Hell no.
So what would it be about?
Oh man, I don't know, man.
How many wraps of black tape it takes to tighten up your steering?
No.
I don't know.
I'm just saying, there's a list of stuff here.
There's a list of stuff. I really don't know.
We got to give him something.
Yeah.
There's got to be something.
All right. Do we have to like stay like Jerry Springer stuff, or can we just talk like about anything?
I guess anything.
Like a
right?
random.
Random.
This
Go
is like
random.
a random thing.
I think the whole point of Jerry Springer is just to have the tension and the argument.
Right.
There. So,
well, I think Cooper would just be mad at me because I always used to pull the whole shots on him.
oh boy.
So
back in the day.
So then what would Brandon be mad about? I'll
That-
always wait till the last lap and pass.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I'd be out of shape.
I just sit there and I know he's gonna
That's
get tired.
fine. I know. That's right. There's actually, if you go on YouTube and look it up, there's actually a video.
There
Proof
was-
of it.
There was one time though that was the exact opposite,
Right.
and it was at Summersville.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I pulled the whole shot,
Mm-hmm.
and then you pushed me around the entire track
Right.
until my bike broke in half. The
Exactly.
subframe snapped.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Zip tied that too, probably.
I OJ'd that little tabletop by like 30 feet. And it was crazy. Like, I don't know why I did that.
Yeah, it was yeah. So that's what it'll be, and then who'd be throwing fists?
I think today though, it'd be about riding time.
It would be, yeah. Right, like if we're gonna go right now today, like it'd be more like I'm getting mad at Coop because he doesn't want to ride at all. Ever,
And
I mean, that's fair.
right?
and I'm getting mad at Brandon because
We got a freaking 9-hour race coming up, and this guy ain't even freaking rode yet.
because he thinks that I'm the weak link for some reason.
Well, you don't ride. You gotta be a weak link.
Gotta save the bike.
At least he rides something.
Exactly.
I mean, you rode once in a year.
And we're talking when it has to have wheels. We're
Huh?
riding something.
What's that? Okay, you rode your ATV. You rode your ATV once this year, and you're trying to talk about how amazing your training is.
All right. Next question.
Next question. Boom! I threw the first punch.
All right, there you go. Who's throwing first punches?
All right, I'm sure you can figure out who this question's from. Would you rather fight a chicken?
I already know. I already know.
Fight a chicken to death every time you get into a car?
Bite a chicken or fight?
Fight.
Okay.
Oh,
Or-
I would say bite, you get salmonella poisoning.
Or sword fight an orangutan to death once a year?
I'm gonna go with the
once
chicken.
a year. I'm going once a year.
I'm going chicken
Every day?
Every day.
You're gonna fight a chicken to death every day
Yeah, because
In
I
a
think-
car.
in a car.
Okay.
Imagine
Okay.
coming out of your house first
Here's
thing in the
the
morning.
thing,
Like, dude,
though,
I gotta freaking fight with this damn chicken.
All right, now we know what Jerry
Okay,
Springer would be
At
about.
least,
time
like,
out.
at least I could train to
Or-
fight the
okay.
orangutan.
Time out. Time out. As far as I know, the chicken doesn't have a weapon. Okay.
Right.
So hear me out.
A pissed off chicken could be.
The orangutan doesn't have a weapon either. You have a sword.
No, yes, he does. He does. So you don't get into a sword fight unless there's two swords.
All right, fair enough. I'll let you. Okay, that's fine.
Or
Fair
you'd
enough.
say, or to say kill an orangutan with a sword.
I don't know.
I'm just saying
I'm
you
going.
actually stand a chance of losing against the orangutan. I don't think I would lose against the chicken.
Some days it might not be that bad.
I don't know. Chickens can get pretty mean sometimes.
I know, but I feel like every day you would get into a rhythm.
to beat your.
You would get into the rhythm. You'd step into the car, grab by the neck, snap it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Uh huh.
If anybody out there is a duck hunter, you know what this means.
Oh. Uh huh.
He'd forget about the chicken.
Do you guys
He
know?
would.
Do you guys know what this is?
It'd be like once again Ricky Bobby just driving a car and like freaking lines right there. It's a chicken. Just,
It'd be like
Yeah.
Driving around with the cougar in the backseat.
It'd be like Groundhog Day.
do you guys know what this motion is?
yeah, you're breaking the duck's neck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
like a chicken.
I'm not even a hunter. I can tell you that. All right. What's the next question?
I think this one might be for. Rodney.
Okay.
Dang
It
it.
says, "Has anyone ever asked a girl that's racing to help them with their stuck quad, then left them there, ruining their hopes and dreams of continuing to race?"
Where is this coming from?
Who did this? Who asked this question? Who asked this question?
I'm not allowed to tell you yet. You have to answer the question. But I
This
heard
is
the
so
story
bad.
on this,
This is so bad.
What a gentleman.
and I'm just
Oh my
assuming
God.
that since this question has been asked,
It's got to be something towards you.
Come on.
So what happened, Rodney?
We're on a time schedule.
All right. This is actually pretty bad. Yeah, so that happened. This was at a Mountain State Hare Scramble race. It was about 3 years ago, and there was a log not perfectly parallel.
Mhm.
It was an awkward angle to hop over.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming the same thing happened to her.
Mhm.
Okay. And it happened to me too. I went to jump over and one wheel got caught and it sucked me down the hill. Not nearly as bad as it happened to her.
Mhm.
Right. I got the quad unstuck and then she came up and gave me a shove in the butt and helped me out. I stopped and I looked back and her bike was absolutely buried down over into a gorge and there was no way I could get it out. There was no way I could get it out. So
You
I
said hell
left.
with it.
I left.
I got a race.
I was in a tight points championship battle and I needed to get the most points I could. And I honestly felt so bad that entire race.
Did when the next lap when you came around, was she still there?
No.
Well, someone else helped her out?
Well,
somebody apparently put her racing again above their priorities of what was happening in the race.
Yeah.
That one,
unlike some people.
Yeah.
I'm not mentioning names, but
that one hurt. Who asked that question? Because I don't even know who the girl was.
It was Cade Castle, and it was his wife that was.
I felt so freaking bad.
You know what's really bad? They don't even live that far from here.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is it was probably for like a B class championship, not even like an A class.
It was too.
It was
for the B or A.
It was for the B. It was for the B. So
and now she doesn't even race.
Jeez. You know it's probably because of you.
It is.
I felt so.
It's probably because of you.
She said to make sure to let you know that it was your fault that she's not racing.
I honestly, I'm taken back by that question because I honestly, that one haunted me. I felt really, really bad. I didn't even know who she was. I felt bad. I wanted to reach out and apologize. And now I have a chance to. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That was terrible.
Way to put you on the spot.
That really did put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Dang it, guys.
See, that's why you don't put your name on the back of your jersey.
I know. That was another thing. I was like, I swear though, if it was a situation where I felt like I could have helped, I would have helped. But she wasn't like in safety danger or anything like that. But the bike was absolutely over a gorge. There's no way one person helped her out of that. It had to be more than one. I think. Unless it was somebody stronger.
You'd feel really bad if she got it out herself.
There's no way.
We need to have her call in and we need to talk about this.
No, let's not do that.
Yeah, we'll definitely do this.
This is
We
terrible.
can definitely make this happen.
This is terrible.
Next question.
Oh my gosh.
He's done for the night.
I'm done.
He's done.
I'm done.
He's
Let's cut
wrecked.
this show right
He's
now.
wrecked.
All right. I think this one might be for Brandon.
Oh boy.
What would you
I've never left a woman stranded.
No, this one's better. Don't worry.
Okay.
There was
cool.
100 other riders going by as well.
What would you have said if someone actually asked about your wiener?
Oh boy.
That's the second time that's
That
question.
is. It is.
I know.
Somebody really wants to know
I
what.
don't-
Everybody wants to know about
I
wiener.
don't think they liked
What
your
about my
first
wiener?
one.
Hey, just so everybody knows, this question is as equally embarrassing for Brandon as the last one is for me.
What's that?
Just because the truth.
Well, that's why.
It's the truth.
Whatever the truth of the answer
Does
is.
your chain hang low? Does
Okay,
it roll
good.
to the floor?
I had to at least make sure it was equal.
Yeah.
All right. Next question.
No, this is what?
I just answered it.
We got to get something better for him. That last one was.
Listen, I don't like leave dandles in
What?
in distress.
Dandelions? What are you talking about?
damsels in distress. You know, like a woman that's needs help.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
over a hill.
I mean, there was 2 questions left on here.
Okay.
They're both kind of serious.
Okay.
So-
Let's do serious.
All right. With all the different winners this year in XC1, when do we see Jordan Ashburn make his strike at a win?
Snowshoe.
Or Penton.
Snowshoe.
Penton.
I think Penton could be an option.
I want to go to Springer already. Snowshoe.
Okay.
Well, now we know what Jerry Springer's about. All right. Last question is: are we going to see a 7th different winner at the next round of GNCC?
No.
I'm going to say yeah, because I'm going with Ashburn could win Penton. That would give us 7 for 7.
No, I don't. We're going to have I don't know.
Ashburn. How did Strength finish last round?
He struggled.
Mm-hmm.
He struggled.
I don't know if he's up
he
for
made
it right now.
He made a post about struggling.
Yeah, he struggled a little bit. I mean, he says he's feeling. He's just one of those races struggling.
Yeah. Okay.
But he always rides good at the Penton.
He does.
That
he
is
does always
true.
ride good at the Penton.
And I don't know. I to me, it's like the odd. Like it's like 100
We're running out of.
the odds are getting really slim, right? Like
they were
if
slim.
we were Vegas, like it'd be like 1,000 to 1 odds right
Yeah.
now if we get a 7th winner. That's my opinion.
I mean, Ashburn and Strength could be potential winners.
Okay.
Right.
at Penton.
What are the odds that we have 7 winners this season?
Oh,
I think that's pretty likely.
just 7 straight. No, but
Okay.
I don't think. I mean, we got proved wrong last week, so
Mhm.
we were saying
So last week we were talking about how many race wins do we think the championship winner
Right.
will have?
well, heck, because right now it's going to be like 2, 3. You know what I mean? Because we're going in round 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no one's won twice.
Mhm.
And there's only 12 rounds this year, correct?
Yeah.
There's one less short. I mean, it's unless someone goes on a winning streak, it's going to be very, very slim. 2, 3 at the most. At the most 3.
Heck, at this point, if the XC2 keeps going, we might see one of them.
Right? Snowshoe for sure.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
They were close.
Yeah.
I think that's all we got, though.
I'll tell you another thing. I don't know. Did you see Cole Richardson's post about why he had kind of a bad weekend?
I did not.
So it sucks, but he had a bunch of like bearing issues. I'm pretty sure the front wheel bearing or something in the hub, and like it all just went to hell in the handbasket. Pretty much. So that's what he was dealing with all day.
He still managed the 13th.
Yeah. That's why he struggled. It wasn't nothing crazy. Which sucks, man. When it comes down to that, when you get a bad part or something that goes wrong and it ruins the guy's been on the podium pretty much every race. So
Right.
What's like the ball joints a couple years ago?
right,
There was like a whole run of ball joints that they were literally just snapping
just kept
them off.
failing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that sucks for him.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you lose. It's another thing when you lose because it's not you.
Right.
Makes it tough.
Mm-hmm. Very tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coop's still shaking.
No,
up.
no.
Uh-huh.
He's
still
settling.
shaking.
He's settling down.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually getting pretty tired. It's starting to hit me.
I think
Well,
what was happening is
It's only
he was
10:46.
he was trying to write his apology.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you that one. That one. made
Man,
me sad.
I really wish somehow you could have got a hold of me and I would have plugged my phone in and let her ask the question live. That would have been amazing.
Was it her that asked that question, or was it her husband?
It was Kate told me to ask it,
Uh-huh.
but I talked to them at the last race, and she thought it would be funny too.
Yeah.
And then
Next time, something like that, let me know, and we'll get
she's
numbers.
in the comments.
Huh?
And
She's in the comments.
Is she?
yeah.
What's her name? Again?
Alicia.
Alicia, I am so sorry.
You have to look directly into the camera.
I am sorry. That one, I'm telling you what, man. I promise. I felt so bad about that one. If it helps, I did finish second that race. I came back and finished because that wasn't the only time I crashed that race. I crashed like 3 times that race before then, and that was early in the race.
Oh, geez.
And I finished that race with I'm pretty sure that was the one I finished that race with half the steering stem broken at the. It was a rough race.
Oh, jeez.
But I needed that one. For the
I think we need to end on that note.
Oh yeah.
The apology to the camera.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
I love it. He's still shocked.
All right, Brandon, give us the rundown.
Give it the rundown,
Yeah.
guys. Hey guys, appreciate you guys listening to us. if it wasn't for these guys, I'm getting ready to now, name off.
Does she still ride? Does she need a Guts Racing seat cover or some Sunstar chain and sprockets? Or
They both ride, actually.
okay, well some SplitLine gear.
yeah. She wants a SplitLine gear for the guy that really just left her in the bottom of a gully. That's what she
left us
wants.
a bad review.
She's going to give you the fingers. What she's going to leave us.
She's going to get like an OTP fan or something instead.
Do we get any music? Do I get any music?
I mean,
I have you muted, so that's probably why.
You have me muted?
Well, I had the phone muted. I wouldn't mute your mic so I can hear the apology. Everybody wants to hear the apology. All right, guys. Magna One Motorsports, title sponsor of the show. Awesome. Couldn't do it without them. Great group of guys over there. Get over there, magna1motorsports.com. Use bikes, helmets, goggles, gear, and more. Check them out over there. Tracks out at any GNCC, any PG event there is. They're always there. Need anything, break something, go to them. Just tell them, talk about SplitLine with them a little bit, just to let them know we sent you.
Yep.
Magna One Clean It, revolutionary cleaning product for your dirt bike, ATV, or anything else you take to the track on the weekend. Get your pit bike, want to clean it up a little bit, get your, whatever you want to clean up, give it a little Magna One cleaner. Ooh, this is a good one.
I know you like this one.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
This is a good. Need to get him a Harley and just cruise down the road.
I use this on one of my
Stuff right here. All right, guys. Guts Racing, see some seat candy. That's what I use by this freaking room. If you want a custom seat foam, if you want custom covers, if you don't trust us, John Glotta, Joe Hetrick, pretty sure Jordan Ashburn, the whole Magna One team uses them. So
yeah, use it.
If you don't trust us, trust them.
Use it or lose it.
They national championships all day long. Seal Savers, guys, check them out. You use them. Mud, dust.
You want your suspension to last,
right? Like
you put a lot of it. It's an investment.
Money,
protect your investment.
A lot of money. Protect your seals. Protect everything.
Discount code.
Discount code SplitLine, capital S, for 25% off.
That's right.
And just everything over there is affordable. Makes it even more affordable. Great gifts. Sunstar chain and sprockets, guys. Best chain and sprockets there is. Best people to deal with. Doug, Kurt, and the group over there are awesome to deal with. Great people. What are they made of, Coop?
Case hardened steel.
Oh yeah.
Or aluminum.
for those guys
for
out
those
there.
Track princesses.
Yeah. We used to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
I still kind of am.
You just still ride dirt bikes.
At heart.
Hey. But anyways, guys, durability is the key, and especially for woods racing, durability is the key to make it through the race. If you ask Devin, code for discount code 30% off. SplitLine 30 for 30% off.
Yep.
Use it, abuse it, all that good stuff. That's right. Mountain State Hair Scramble, guys. Great series. Richie Nolan and the gang over there. Put on a great weekend of racing.
Typically, there's nobody there that will leave you stranded. Typically.
Listen, if Rodney Cooper will leave you stranded, Richie will personally come rescue you. And
every once in a while it happens.
And if you're looking for a place to ride this weekend, bikes are on Saturday, quads are on Sunday. Buckhannon, West Virginia, Mountain State Hair Scramble series will be there.
Be there, be square.
That's right. Make sure if you do race on Sunday, at least take your mom to the track, buy her a little bit of flowers, and
get that dub.
And then just roost the hell out of her.
For episode 113, thank you to Johnny Gerard, Coach Rob Beams, and Austin Abney. We are commercial? Gosh, I mean, this was going so smooth.
I know it was. You just ruined the whole damn show.
That was almost perfect timing.
Thanks, Devin. Thanks, Brandon.
Yep.
Peace.
Peace.